Welcome back to Second and Short. It is Friday, August 30th, 2024. Me and Luke ready to go. Whole lot of stuff going on. We are under a week away from the NFL season beginning. We are underway for college football, fully underway. If you aren't a week 0 guy, it's real now. It's now week 1. We're on to match week 3 in the Premier League. There's already an international break next week, which I hate. And the MLB regular season is winding down. And there's a lot of very close races right now across the MLB. So a lot to look forward to everywhere right now when it comes to Second and Short, at least. Obviously, we don't talk much about basketball, but that's starting up soon, too.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff to look forward to in sports. This is the time. We're in the zone now. We're in the zone. Luke, how you doing?
I've been better, man,
Yeah.
but we're getting through it. School's underway, starting to get more settled in, I guess, here, and yeah, just can't wait for college football. If you're not a week 0 guy, you should have been.
That's true. Well, no.
Unless you're a Florida State fan.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, we're getting past it. Look, what I said to Brock after Florida State lost was, at least I don't have to pay attention to the ACC for the rest of the year. That is a positive. Little bit of, I guess, housekeeping before we go into anything. The studio has been rearranged a little bit. I know it probably doesn't look like it on camera. You'll probably notice it more on Monday with me and Colin when you have the full shot, but some things got rearranged. The TV is now above the camera, so I'm looking at the camera now. This is me looking at Luke on the TV. It's a little bit different. I'm sure you guys will get used to it, but I was kind of tired of looking totally away from the camera over there to see the TV. And it also maybe opens up some avenues for some different looks for the set. We'll get to those at a later date, but for now, we changed around the orientation of the studio a little bit, so it might be a little bit different for the YouTube listeners. If you're not already a YouTube listener, you should be. Go to the YouTube. If you're already here, like, subscribe, comment. A lot of times when I'm looking at the analytics on YouTube, the people that are watching the videos aren't subscribed. Got to be subscribed. Stay up to date with everything. So just so you guys know, I can see those numbers. I can. And I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to tell you to subscribe right now. Obviously, turn on post notifications to see everything that comes up after you subscribed. And follow us on all of our social media accounts. They're all here right down at the bottom of the screen. Of course, join the Second and Short subreddit, which is down over there. There. Yep. Almost got it, Luke. Little bit over. Whatever. It's right there. It's r/2nd A&D short. Go there. Submit your questions by 5 p.m. every single Thursday. Literally, if you want, go in there and just ask us to make picks every week. If that's what you want, go do that. Obviously, you won't get an answer till Friday, so don't ask about Thursday Night Football. But go in there and ask whatever you'd like. Ask us about music. Ask us about something that happened here or there or whatever. Just ask us. Literally, if you need some advice on anything, ask in the Second and Short subreddit. We'd be glad to answer it at questions time. Podcast listeners, rate 5 stars, give us a follow. You guys have been here from the jump, so you know what you're doing over there on the podcast platform. All right, we've got a lot on the plate today. A little bit of MLB recap. Not too much going on just yet. Playoff picture hasn't quite changed all that much. The White Sox are eliminated from the playoffs. We already knew that like 2 weeks ago. Got a couple other things we'll touch on with them, of course, as we do every week. Have to talk about them. It's really them and the Yankees every week. I guess it's just both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
That we're having to discuss. But we've got our NFC East season preview to wrap up the second annual NFL divisional previews, which, might I add, once again, probably me and Luke's favorite thing that we do on this podcast every year.
Oh, for sure.
I absolutely love the season previews.
Yeah, really. I mean, it help. Whenever I'm drafting in fantasy, I think about our season previews. I
Yeah,
don't know if
dude.
you do the same thing, but
So me and Luke had our fantasy draft and Colin right after we recorded Monday's episode. And I was sitting at the table like, I can't draft some of these players because I am on video saying these guys aren't going to have a good year.
yeah.
So I can't be the guy that like drafts these guys, and then I've got guys in the fantasy league like pulling clips. Now, if all the guys in the fantasy league want to watch the podcast, I invite them to. But
They're weaponizing it.
Yeah, I don't want this used against me. If you guys want to clip it out, feel free. But if you're in the fantasy league, please do not use my draft picks against me. Some of them certainly will be, I'm sure. And probably to Luke as well, and maybe Colin. There's no telling. So, lots to touch on there. We've got match week 3 in the Premier League, so we'll be talking Premier League weekend. We've got a couple of really good matchups this weekend. And then we have an international break next week. The UCL draw, it happened today. There's way too much to go over because the format of the Champions League entirely changed for this year. So I want to dedicate the whole soccer segment next week to that. So we're going to hold off on talking about the Champions League draw until next week so we can go through the new format, all these things to change, and then kind of talk about who we think will advance. Make a couple of predictions maybe. So we'll go over all of that next week. This week, just some Premier League stuff. And then we have a weird version of questions time, I guess, this week. Nathan decided to just switch it up on me last second. Had no idea until I checked the Reddit to see what he posted, and it was not questions. I will just say that. So once again, please submit questions on the Second and Short subreddit. Luke, anything we need to touch on before we get into the MLB recap?
No. Let's go right into it. I think I'm ready.
Okay, well then let's do it. MLB recap.
What do we got?
And we're starting with Spencer Arrighetti of the Houston Astros. Took a no-hitter into the 8th inning the other night. Looked phenomenal. It was broken up by Austin Hayes with 2 outs in the 8th inning, but Arrighetti ended the night 7.2 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 4 walks, 11 Ks.
Damn.
Yeah, hell of an outing for Spencer Arrighetti. And this is one of many Astros no-hit bids that have gone at least 7 innings. Just since 2019, that's their 16th, including playoffs.
Dang.
Yeah. It is the most such no-hit bids over a 6-season span by an MLB team over the past 50 years.
Wonder if they're cheating.
They've done it in the past. You can't put it past them anymore. I would like to know your thoughts on this. Why have there been, or seemingly been, a lot of no-hit bids in this second half of the season, including, we had a no-hitter by Dylan Cease and Blake Snell in the second half of the season?
Yeah, I don't think you can. I don't know. Maybe you have a better reason than I do, but I don't think you can really correlate that to anything.
Yeah, because
it may
it's
be
not
just
like
a lot of guys turning it on.
Yeah, it's not like
it's getting
offensive
closer.
production has gotten worse. Like in past years, like shit, there was that year where it seemed like we had a no-hitter like every week for the first 2 months of the season, and then they fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
Now it seemed like the whole first half of the season we weren't getting any. And all of a sudden we're getting all these bids, combined no-hitters, no-hit bids, no-hitters, like everything just popping up out of nowhere. It's super weird. But the offense around the league hasn't declined like in those past years when people are like, oh, it's the balls, like, got a dead ball. Doesn't seem like there's a dead ball because Aaron Judge and Shohei and everybody is hitting home runs still. So I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I know it is bizarre. I really don't have a. Yeah, I ain't got nothing about that.
All right, well, let's talk about the Pittsburgh Pirates. They blew a historic lead. They led the Cubs 10-3 entering the 7th inning on Wednesday. They proceeded to give up 2 runs in the 7th, 3 in the 8th, and 6 in the 9th inning and lost 14-10. Before this game, teams were 1,192-0 in the last 7 years when they were up at least 7 runs to start the 7th inning. It's unbelievable.
Paul Skeens started that game too, didn't he?
I don't know. Did he?
Pretty sure he did, yeah, because
Wow.
Livy Dunn posted something about it. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Taking care of hubby. His teammates suck.
Yeah, she's right. She might be able to get him a trade out of Pittsburgh within the next 2 years. I think that's very possible.
Yeah.
And it would all be her doing. All she has to do is post one TikTok being like, Paul really hates Pittsburgh. Houston would be so nice. I love Houston.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he'll be an Astro the next week.
Yep.
Part of this blown lead was Christian Bethancourt's doing for the Cubs. He was absolutely unbelievable. He went 3 for 5 with 7 RBIs in this game. All 3 of those hits and RBIs came in the 7th or later.
Wow.
So he was 0 for 2 going into the 7th inning. And then he hit a 3-run bomb in the 7th, a 2-run double in the 8th, and a 2-run single, which took the lead in the 9th inning.
Shout out Christian Bethancourt. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable. He became the first player ever to collect multiple RBIs in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning of a game.
Yeah, good for him. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable.
Hey, if we can keep it with the Pirates for a second, what do we think about Oneil Cruz, center fielder?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think it was inevitable. I think we've talked about how he was never going to end up a career shortstop.
He was so much fun, though.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll be a good center fielder, if that is a fair assessment yet. He's played 1 game there, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like his play style is definitely more garnered to corner outfield, in my opinion. I think shortstop to corner outfield is a much easier transition than center field.
Yeah.
Just because it's a lot of ground to cover, and it's very, very technical. Like you have to be a center fielder to play center field.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of guys that stick to the corner outfields and just hop over into center and play well. There's not a lot of guys that do that. So yeah, we'll have to see in a big sample size. I'm sure he was fine. I didn't see any bloopers yet. Like I haven't seen anything bad, but it's not like he's making diving plays and robbing home runs yet.
Well, the thing with Oneil Cruz is he could probably drop a ball at the warning track and throw the guy out at first.
Yeah, he probably could. He could probably get a runner tagging from third at home.
He probably could
from the warning track.
But it's going to be interesting because we've seen the NBA power forward that plays for the Yankees that has been doing pretty good in center field this year. But one thing that Aaron Judge doesn't have is speed.
Mm-hmm.
Oneil Cruz is the same size, has maybe even a better arm. We'll figure it out from the outfield, but Oneil Cruz can throw hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if he can really figure it out, like you said, it is hard, but if he can figure it out, he might be kind of a cheat code out there.
Maybe. We will see.
I don't know.
We'll have to see. Speaking of this Cubs-Pirates series, we'll keep it with it. Pete Crow Armstrong had a fantastic 3-game series against the Pirates. Multiple 3-hit games, or 3+ hit games. He stole 3+ bases in one game, scored 4+ runs in a game. No other MLB rookie has done all 3 of those things in a single series in the modern era.
Wow.
Yeah, so Pete Crow Armstrong showing off the skill set, really, just doing everything.
I know. First time I've heard about him all year, too.
Yeah, he hasn't done a ton. He's had a couple of moments here and there throughout the year, but not all that much going for Pete Crow Armstrong this year. The White Sox can't win. You already knew that. But they really can't win. Garrett Crochet started on Tuesday, and within literally 1 minute of game time is what they considered this. The game got postponed after he threw 4 pitches. Obviously did not end up playing when the game was resumed on Wednesday, early afternoon, late morning. The White Sox ended up losing that game 3-1. Then in the second game on Wednesday, the White Sox were down 4-3 in the 9th inning when Andrew Vaughn came up with runners on first and second, sent a ball deep to left, looked like it was going out, had the distance. Travis Jankowski was not going to let that happen. Robs the homer, keeps the Rangers alive, makes it 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. They end up winning the game, and the White Sox lose again. They are so bad and cannot catch a single break for it.
No.
It's unbelievable. And,
yeah.
This stat is jarring. To really put into perspective how bad they are, every single team in the AL Central except the White Sox is above 500 right now, and the combined division record is 23 games below 500.
Oh, God.
That is how bad they are. They are currently on pace to win 37 games this season, and there were 3 teams in the COVID season that had at least 37 wins. And that was only 60 games, if you don't remember, for the people out there. So, yeah, the White Sox, unbelievably bad. Truly, historically bad. Absolutely crazy.
It's absolutely rough for them.
Yeah, we've got 2 more bad franchises as well. The Miami Marlins and the Colorado Rockies both eliminated from winning their respective divisions. They can still technically make the playoffs. It would take unprecedented comebacks from both teams. But the biggest thing is that this continues the streak. Since 1993, when these 2 teams entered the National League, neither team has won their division. Still.
Wow.
The Marlins have won World Series and not won their division.
Yeah, that's weird to think about.
Yeah. How do you go this long? The Rockies have been there so many times.
Yeah.
But
I
they
don't
go
know.
this long without winning the division.
Yeah, and I would say that, the Marlins have had better teams throughout my childhood, definitely, than the Rockies. The D. Gordon, Jose Fernandez, Giancarlo Stanton team was fun. But that's wild that they haven't won their division yet.
Yeah, still have never won the NL East. The thing is throughout the time that they've been good, or since they've been around, obviously, late 90s, the Braves dominated every year. And then you get into the early 2000s, the Braves are still doing it, and then they kind of fall off. The Phillies emerge again. Then the Phillies kind of hold it. And you see a couple years of the Mets looking good. Then the Braves take this dominating route once again. And it's every good year that the Marlins put together, whether it be the COVID year or last year, whatever it is, they can't win the division. And the Rockies have had their years too. They went to the World Series in 2007. They got swept by the Red Sox, but they were there. But they can't win the National League West because the Dodgers, really, and the Giants in the 2010s.
Would that have been the Todd Helton era?
I think it was at the tail end of Todd Helton, I believe.
Yeah. That's just wild. I mean, going back to the Marlins, even the Nationals aren't as bad as we're accustomed to this year.
Mm-mm.
I mean, they're ahead of the Marlins by a shit ton of games.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's wild.
This is just kind of almost off topic, honestly. Why does Stephen A. Smith still try to talk about baseball?
Oh yeah,
it never goes well. Literally. And I'm going to chalk this one up, not even on Stephen A. I'm chalking this one up on whatever fool takes the notes for him. Because I know he doesn't take his own notes. Somebody is writing all of these notes for him. Who the fuck told him that Juan Soto bats after Aaron Judge?
Yeah.
He literally said, that part of the reason the Judge's numbers are so good is that Juan Soto is after him. Juan Soto
Yeah.
is not after Aaron Judge, in case you have not watched a Yankees game all year.
Yeah.
It's just like, come on. You're on national TV. And he's not only is he on national TV, he's debating Chris Russo, who is literally like one of the most popular baseball, I guess, analysts, if you will, baseball talk radio hosts ever. Like, how are you going to come into this not knowing something as basic as that?
Yeah.
Like, that's
exactly.
so, like, you watch one Yankees game and you would know that. Like, Stephen A.
Yeah.
does not watch baseball, and you cannot convince me that he does at all.
He's proclaimed being a Yankees fan a lot, though. He is a New Yorker, I
Yeah.
think, right? Or is he
Yeah.
from Philly?
I think he's from New York. I know he's a Knicks fan.
I think he's from New York too. Yeah.
But no, like, I like Stephen A. I find him extremely entertaining. Maybe one of the best personalities in sports, but not baseball. He's great for
Yeah.
basketball. I think he is. I wouldn't say he's great when it comes to football. I'd say he's very entertaining, though. And he provides maybe, at least for football, Stephen A. provides the common fan's perspective on a lot of things, which I can respect.
Definitely, like those eras with or the era with him and Skip Bayless
Yeah.
on First Take is like
Unbelievable.
why I want this to be my career.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Like, I
That was
remember
a
like
awesome run.
watching them argue about like LeBron going to the Heat.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
that is
wild to
insane.
think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say something. Oh, if you haven't already, go watch their last episode together.
Oh,
First
it's
Take.
so good.
It's a great episode. It's really sad, but it's good.
Yeah, it's so good. Back to the baseball though. The Red Sox held a One Piece night. I'm not sure if you're familiar with One Piece. It's an anime.
Yeah.
I was kind of just confused by the Red Sox holding that. Brian Bayo, Cedon Rafaela, big fans of One Piece. They wore pretty cool cleats. Brian Bayo pitched amazing in this game. It was against the Blue Jays, I believe. 8 innings pitched, 2 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 9 Ks, 97 pitches. Unbelievable start for Brian Bayo. Is Boston the city that should be hosting?
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, like an anime-themed night. I can think of one prominent Boston actor that certainly was not in attendance.
No.
It doesn't seem like the right market for One Piece night.
No, not at all. But I will say, I just looked it up. The bobblehead that they got is like pretty cool.
That's cool.
For the show, it's actually it's a character from the show.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I just
But
thought
no,
that was an
you're
interesting
exactly
one.
right. Yeah, that is very strange that they did that in Boston.
Yeah, not gonna expand upon why.
No.
Look up.
You should know.
Look up Mark Wahlberg mugshot. There you go. That'll explain it.
Yeah.
At least enough. Or just look up
Yeah.
like things that Boston Celtics fans say.
Yeah. Next time you go to Wahlburgers, just make sure you read his early life and his Wikipedia page first.
Yeah, or controversies. I'm sure that is a tab.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just thought that was interesting. Wanted to include that.
That's fucking hilarious.
Okay, next thing though. Nationals rookie James Woods single-handedly abused Carlos Rodon. It was unbelievable. So James Woods starts this off by hitting a 110.5 mile an hour single to the opposite field. Then on the next pitch, steals second. Right after that, on the next pitch, so the second pitch after his hit, advances to third on a wild pitch. And then before a pitch is thrown, after that wild pitch, Carlos Rodon balks and James Woods scores. Now, The balk was controversial because you could see Rodon's reaction immediately. He was like complaining about the pitch comm. Apparently, there was pitch comm errors for the whole series, according to Rodon and Aaron Boone. After this game, they both said that there was pitch comm issues all series, and both teams had to stop using pitch comm after this because if one team is having issues with it, both teams can't use it. I think is how it works.
Okay.
Which, yeah, whatever. But Rodon and Boone coming out after this happens, after you lose 2 out of 3 in Washington, that seems like it's just like cope. Like they're trying to cope.
I was thinking the same thing. Of course, I always want to defend the Yankees when I can, but why not like say that after the first game or the second game or whenever it started? Now,
Exactly.
it just seems like a cop out.
Yeah, when in game 3, when you lose and like that made them down 2-0 pretty early in the game with Rodon, like
Yeah.
it's pretty obvious you're just making excuses at that point.
Yeah. Not a fan of that series, I guess, those guys.
Yeah. MLB.com put out an interesting list. It's MLB's best player at every age. We tend to see these just about every year. But I want to just go down the list starting at age 20, Jackson Chourio of the Milwaukee Brewers. 21, Jackson Merrill of the San Diego Padres, who has been lighting it the fuck up, might honestly win National League Rookie of the Year. Paul Skeens is going to have to turn some things around here. 22 years old, Ellie De La Cruz. 23, Gunnar Henderson. 24, Bobby Witt Jr. 25, Juan Soto. 26, Ronald Acuna Jr. It is absurd that those guys are 25 and 26. Yeah. And it seems like they've been around forever. Like Juan Soto is going to be a free agent this summer and is going to get absolutely paid. Maybe the biggest deal behind Shohei ever. Yeah. Probably the second biggest deal ever is what Soto's getting. Acuna is going to be getting an extension in the next 2 years. It's just absurd. 27 years old, Tarek Skubal. Dylan Cease, 28 years old. Shohei Ohtani, 29. 30, Ketel Marte. 31, Mookie Betts. This one is still crazy to me. Mookie Betts is 31 years old. Aaron Judge is 32.
Yeah. That's
crazy. Like, Mookie Betts won a World Series before Aaron Judge's debut.
Yeah.
and not only won a World Series, was like the second or third best player on his team that won the World Series.
Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy. 33 years old, Garrett Cole. 34, Freddie Freeman. 35, in a late push, Chris Sale. 36, Clayton Kershaw. 37, Andrew McCutchen. So not a fantastic crop of players above 35. Carlos Santana at 38. Max Scherzer at 39. Charlie Morton at 40. Justin Verlander at 41, and everybody's favorite, Rich Hill at 44 years old. Nobody 42 or 43 in the league right now. Okay, couple things I want to point out. Typically, the younger part of this list is dominated by young international players that signed as international free agents at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But out of from 20 to 24, only Ellie De La Cruz is a international free agent signing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, everybody else was drafted. So Bobby Witt, Gunnar Henderson, Jackson Merrill, and Jackson Chourio, which, just for basic information, I don't know why I said once again, all those guys came out of high school. So none of them went to college, which obviously helps them get up quicker. But it's like Ellie De La Cruz, I would assume, probably signed with the Reds at 16 years old, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And made his way up. But pretty surprising to me to see that many American players at that young age. Because, in past years, you would see like 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 are all international free agent signings from,
Yeah.
Central America, Caribbean, whatever. So very surprising to see that.
Yeah, you like to see that. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's good.
Let's see, what do we have next? The Cardinals are so bad that their fans are selling tickets on StubHub for free.
Oh God.
Yeah, there was literally free tickets at Busch Stadium for Wednesday night's game that were free. And they weren't even bad seats. Like I saw a couple of views from these seats. Like there was one, it was like right behind the first base side dugout, probably like a section back on ground level. Like great view. Free. Now I'm sure there's some seller's fees and whatnot. You got to pay for parking. Still, that's like if I was sitting in that seat, but at Truist Park, I'd probably have to pay a little over $100 per ticket.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable that people have given up on the Cardinals that bad.
Yeah.
Crazy.
No, and they're 6-4 in their last 10. I'm looking at it right now. They're at 500. The Cubs are only a game ahead.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah, I was amazed. Kind of the last two things, kind of just fun facts. The Braves and Twins played a series this week, which featured a pitching matchup between Spencer Schwellenbach and Simeon Woods Richardson, which was confirmed by Baseball Reference as the longest last name starting pitching matchup in their database. 29 total characters between the two last names, obviously Schwellenbach and Woods-Richardson. Rather long last names. And yes, Baseball Reference confirmed it that is the longest combination of last names in a starting pitching matchup in their database, which is like very, very old. It goes back very far.
Are there pitchers in the league that could beat that record right now? They just haven't played each other? Probably.
That's
right?
a great question. Like Schwellenbach is, I think, 13 characters. And Woods Richardson, I believe, is 16?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a lot. You would almost have to have hyphenated names to beat Schwellenbach at 13.
That's a good point.
I'm
maybe if Pete Crow Armstrong ever takes them out.
Yeah. Crow Armstrong definitely has got some characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maxing out text boxes over here.
Like D. Gordon started going by D. Strange Gordon.
Okay. Meta World Peace.
No, it's just his other last name he never used. Very weird. Just decided to start hyphenating his two last names from his parents, but yeah, I can't think of any other pitchers with like long names like that.
Verlander's pretty long. What about like Verlander Yamamoto? How many is that?
Definitely not 29. Well, think of it, Yamamoto is only 8.
Yeah.
And Verlander is 8. No, 9. Right?
Dang, yeah. Maybe it's impossible. Maybe those are the only two guys.
I think that's our best chance.
That's wild.
I've got 2 Rich Hill facts that just stumbled upon me.
Love Rich Hill.
The last 5 leaders of baseball operations, so president, whatever, of baseball operations for the Red Sox, the last 5 of them have all signed Rich Hill to contracts, which is crazy. Theo Epstein, Ben Cherington, Dave Dombrowski, Kyle Bloom, and Craig Breslow have all independently signed Rich Hill to contracts. Maybe even more fun fact about how long Rich Hill has been around. Andrew Bailey was drafted, made his MLB debut, won Rookie of the Year, was teammates with Rich Hill in 2012, retired, and became the Red Sox pitching coach, who is now Rich Hill's pitching coach, all in the span of Rich Hill's career.
No way.
Yeah, absolutely insane.
I don't get. Yeah, his career started with the Cubs in 2005.
Yep,
Jesus,
it has been a long time.
the dinosaur.
Yeah. Anything you've got for the MLB?
Yeah, a couple things I wanted to run through. Touching back on the National Series, obviously bummed that we lost to a team that's pretty decently under 500. Lost a series against them,
Yep.
but just some of the defense that Aaron Judge was playing, like the home run robbery, then throwing the guy out at first. Obviously, he threw it to the cutoff guy first, but just I don't know. He just, especially in this series, looked like a total freak, hitting home runs
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
So that was very very fun to watch. Hang on, let me go to my saved on Instagram real fast. Huh, see what else I got. Clark Schmidt is finally starting his rehab assignment. Still again a really big bummer for the Yankees that he ended up getting hurt so early on. Because he started the season fantastic, probably the best Clark Schmidt we've ever seen, and then gets hurt. I hope it's not like a Luis Severino situation.
Yeah.
Because that would really really suck. Let's see. Angels position players this year have an ERA of 4.15, which is lower than both of their bullpen 4.18 and cumulative team 4.58.
Ooh, that's not good.
Yeah. They are struggling.
Yeah.
Did you see the clip that I sent you of the Red Sox announcers talking about the threesome?
Yes.
And then they just die laughing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I really don't have much to say about that other than y'all need to go seek out that video.
Yes.
And then once you watch that, look up Nick Markakis take strike one. Let's see. Yeah, that's actually it.
Okay.
That is it.
All right. Well, that's all for the MLB. We got a month left in the season, so
Coming down to it. It's getting exciting.
Yeah, we'll see where it takes us. All right. I believe it is NFC East time.
Let's get it.
NFC Beast season preview, the finale, the ultimate rendition of the division previews this year. It's kind of it's a bittersweet ending. Like we've said, it's our favorite series to do on this podcast. But also it means football's here.
Yes.
It's a double-edged sword. But obviously I'm much more excited to watch football than to preview the divisions.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
And let's just go ahead and get into it. Let's start with the standings in the NFC East, bottom to top. What you got?
Giants, Commanders, Eagles, Cowboys. I still think the Cowboys, and this is going to be insane to say, but it just kind of attests to how disorganized I feel like the Eagles are and were at the end of last season. But the Cowboys are just a much more cohesive unit. Yeah, they definitely needed a running back in the offseason, but at least you brought back a veteran, and a lot of people have been forgetting that Dalvin Cook is a Cowboy now. He's third on the depth chart behind Rico Dowdle, which I hope will change. That would be if somehow the Cowboys could unlock Dalvin Cook 3-4 years ago, which they won't, but if they could, that would be insane. Locking up CeeDee Lamb recently was awesome too. He's come out and said that he's grateful to be a Cowboy.
Yep.
Micah Parsons is still on the team. Sucks that Deron Bland got hurt. And, like we were talking about pre-recording, not only the Cowboys, but every team had a good draft class. So I just feel like the Cowboys are most prime to win this division from what we saw the Eagles do last year.
Okay. Yeah, I have a couple of things I disagree with the Cowboys. Personally, my rankings from the bottom to the top: Giants, Commanders, Cowboys, Eagles. I think what the Eagles did this offseason helps them more than what the Cowboys did. And I think when it comes to Dak Prescott, I'm certainly not expecting consistency year over year. That's just how it goes with him, I guess. Last year it was a bold take to say that the Cowboys were going to run this division. They
Yeah.
did. This year, I don't think it's that way. I think all this contract bullshit that has gone on this summer. Yeah, CD got paid. Maybe not as much as he wanted to, considering it took so long.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the season starts next week. Dak and Micah don't have deals. Well, that's still, out of the 3 best players on your team, that's 2 of them that still haven't gotten the money they want. So that doesn't look good. Then you add on, like you said, the Bland injury. It kills. Obviously, you still have Trayvon Diggs, who came back, or who is coming back. But I don't, it's tough because Deron Bland was the best defensive player in the league last year. I will stand on that.
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe a bold claim, but last year he was unbelievable.
That is true.
So, yeah, I just think that the Eagles going out, picking up Saquon, really bolstering just depth. Depth was the biggest asset in their draft class, and they went out and did it. They replaced an aging Hassan Reddick with, honestly, a Bryce Huff who is in his prime that they didn't have to pay, which is even better. You have all of this young defensive talent that they have kind of invested in over the last couple of years in these draft classes, coming to this point where, like, they're here to earn contracts now. Jordan Davis is looking to earn an extension soon. Jalen Carter, obviously pretty new into the mix. He's playing for money. All these guys are playing to prove themselves on these rookie deals. That's huge for them. Up front, it's huge. Obviously, Jason Kelce is like the biggest loss ever for this franchise. Like, genuinely a game-changing player, whether you like it or not, whether you want to say that an offensive lineman can change so much. It can, especially when your go-to signature play was shaped around this player. So, yeah, maybe we won't see the tush push as much, but they also have, a top 5 running back. They have a great wide receiver core that they added on to that I really like. There's a lot to look forward to with the Eagles, and I think what they did this offseason just dwarfs what the Cowboys did personally.
All right.
My dark horse is the Cowboys. Don't get that twisted. I'm not saying they can't win the division, but when your only free agent signing for months was Eric Kendricks, that's not a good sign.
No. I guess I don't really have a dark horse, but I would go with the Eagles. To be honest, I don't think there's a dark horse because, I do still think the Eagles are going to be right there.
Yeah.
But if you picked your dark horse as the Cowboys, I'll go ahead and, give some reasons why I think the Eagles could be a dark horse. Echoing all the things you said, you're exactly right. As far as like bringing players in, the Eagles trumped a lot of teams, and definitely the Cowboys, by far. However, I think with, coaching, and just the stability at head coach that the Cowboys have, which, you could argue against that with
I would
Mike
say
McCarthy.
both of these head coaches are on the hot seat.
But Sirianni is his seat's on fire. I think Mike
McCarthy's seat has been on fire for years. It's just they won't take him off of it. They won't get him a new seat. They won't extinguish the seat. Nothing. Like, it is always going to be hot because Jerry Jones is his boss.
I just feel like his job is so much more secure than Sirianni's.
It probably
right now,
is, but both of them, and more recently, Mike McCarthy, lost their coordinators. Dan Quinn's gone. That's a huge part of why the Cowboys could see a decline on the defensive side.
I forget.
Dan Quinn has been there for, I think he's been the DC since he got fired by the Falcons. I think he's been the DC there. There could have been a little bit of a gap in between, but that's a big loss. He is a great defensive coordinator. I will not take that away from Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
I'll take, I'll put a lot of blame on him for losing the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But he was a fantastic defensive coordinator with the Legion of Boom in Seattle. Not as good of a head coach. Still had fantastic seasons with Atlanta. Now was a great defensive coordinator for the Cowboys. They had a stellar defense. Like defensive player of the year contenders the last, 2 years between Trayvon and Deron Bland, or I guess 3 years. Between Trayvon and Deron Bland, of course, Micah Parsons is literally up there every year as well. Like, so many fantastic defensive players that have come through in this time with Dan Quinn, and now he's gone. That, I think, is a huge factor as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're exactly right. But I don't know. I'm going with the Cowboys on this one. I got a feeling.
Fair enough. Let's talk offensive player of the year. This is a weird division for standout players, in my opinion. I think at some point in this offseason, I said that Jalen Hurts is overrated, and I still believe that. Same goes for Dak Prescott, which I don't think Dak's overrated. I just think he's inconsistent. But yes, I do have Jalen Hurts on my list for Offensive Player of the Year. The other Eagles I have A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley. It's kind of the core.
Yeah, we're exactly with each other on the Eagles there. And then the only two Cowboys I have is Dak coming off of arguably the best season he's ever had, and CeeDee Lamb.
I've just got CD. Like I said, I'm out on Dak this season.
Yeah.
I've actually got two Commanders.
Okay.
Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin.
Oh no! I have Scary Terry, but I don't think Jaden Daniels is Offensive Player of the Year.
I think, to me, the fact that Jaden Daniels has immediately, like literally the second he walked in the door, it was pretty obvious he was going to be QB1 over Marcus Mariota. That's not like the easiest quarterback to jump quickly. We already saw Drake May couldn't jump Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
So I think that is a big factor. I think Jaden Daniels, obviously, maybe I'm just looking too much into it, getting a little too hyped up about how good his Heisman season was last year in college. But it's like, I haven't heard a single bad thing about him. I've heard bad things about Caleb this offseason. I've heard plenty of bad things about Drake May. JJ already went down. He was having a bad offseason, to my knowledge. Bo Nix, mixed reviews for sure. But I haven't heard a single bad thing about Jaden Daniels, and that makes me extremely excited. Now, I don't love his weapons. I love his weapon. His one weapon, Terry McLaurin. I love him.
Yeah.
And sorry, I'm going to correct myself. I have three Commanders. I forgot about Austin Eckler, who I was famously out on last year. Maybe for good reason. He wasn't great. But Terry McLaurin is his primary weapon. Austin Eckler is the next weapon for sure. But like, if you thought that there was a huge gap from wide receiver 1 to 2 and 3 last year on the Commanders with Jahan Dotson and Curtis Samuel, let me introduce you to the wide receivers this year. Because wide receiver 2 is Olamide Zaccheaus. And nobody knows Olamide Zaccheaus better than me. If you want to bet on somebody to have over 1.5 receptions, he's your guy. Because he'll probably get 2.
Yeah.
If you want a guy to win you football games or put up meaningful stats, not your guy. Noah Brown, if you want him to go off for a week or two every year, call him up. Every week, though, he's not touching what Terry McLaurin has going on. If Terry McLaurin is not absolutely fed, like unbelievably targeted this season by Jaden Daniels, somebody has lost it in Washington.
I think you're exactly right.
And then, of course, he has Eckler.
Right.
Eckler is wide receiver 2. I said that at our fantasy football draft. That Austin Eckler is wide receiver 2 on this team.
I think I'm higher on Brian Robinson Jr. than I am Eckler, though.
Really?
This year, yeah.
I don't know. I just think that Eckler, first of all, his, I believe, former running back coach with the Chargers is now the offensive coordinator. It might have been his former offensive coordinator. Is the offensive coordinator now in Washington.
That's always good news.
So that's big because they're going to favor him more with a guy that has experienced him at his best as well. And then Brian Robinson Jr. is just not quite done anything yet. If I don't want to sound mean because he has looked good at times, but has not quite gotten over the hump. So
yeah, no, that's
I can't get high on him yet because I don't know what his high is. I don't know what the ceiling is for Brian Robinson right now.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, he's always been with, Alex Gibson as well. He's never been like the sole guy on his team before. Antonio Gibson, sorry. And he won't be this season, with Eckler being there. And I a lot of teams are going to two-back systems, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But for Brian Robinson, he's never been the guy that's completely outshined the other guy in the two-back system, Yeah. It's always been like, oh, Brian Robinson can do this, the other guy can do this better, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. Hopefully we'll see it soon.
Yeah, look, like Brian Robinson provides them an efficient runner, which Eckler is not. So that could certainly be his avenue to getting playing time.
Yeah.
But it's still going to be difficult when Eckler can just be on the field and be a weapon.
Yeah.
The only other guy I've got, Malik Neighbors for the Giants. That one's just, I got to ride with the guy that I said is going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. So.
Yeah, I don't have anybody for the Giants.
All right. Well, then let's talk defense. Because, good God, is there a lot of Eagles. I've got 4 Eagles.
I have 1.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Well, go ahead and say your 1.
Bryce Huff.
Okay, he is one of mine for sure.
And I feel like I'm glad that we both have that because I guarantee you, if you ask like regular fans if Bryce Huff was going to be Defensive Player of the Year, they tell you no. He's coming off of a 11 and a half, 12 sack season.
Yeah, he was
with the Jets, going to arguably a better, front line in Philly. It's I think it could be the perfect storm for this guy. He's got major talent.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely agree. And on top of that, I have one of his mates on the defensive line, Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter has just been a beast. From the second he stepped on the field, he has been a fucking animal. I can't imagine we're going to see anything different this year. When he adds, when they could just continue to show off the depth that they have on the defensive line. Like, we're not even talking about the fact that Josh Sweat is still there. And a number of other players I can't quite think of. I know Brandon Graham retired, but a couple other players on that defensive line that are huge assets.
Jordan Davis.
Yeah, Jordan Davis, of course. And then I have C.J. Gardner-Johnson making his return to Philadelphia.
Oh, I like that take.
Yeah, and then I do have Darius Slay. I do still think he can be very, very good. I don't know if he's going to be the level that he's been the last couple of years. I guess last year he wasn't great. I just like the depth that they have at corner. I think it helps him out a lot when he doesn't necessarily have to be 100% the best at all times because James Bradberry sucks. Bradberry's starting the season out. I don't know when he'll be back. But you also drafted first round, second round cornerbacks. And they were both first round graded cornerbacks. In Quinyon Mitchell.
Keely Ringo from last year.
Yeah, Keely Ringo is going to be starting. Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean are duking it out for the nickel.
Yeah.
So you have Keely Ringo, who's a year in with this system. James Bradberry is going to start off hurt. I don't like him. I think when he comes back, Keely should still start over him, depending on how Keely looks, of course. And I hope for Cooper DeJean's sake that he continues to play corner and does not get moved to safety, because as long as he's an Eagle, he's not playing right now, is what it looks like, which sucks. He'll probably be the punt returner. But for as long as he's an Eagle, he will not be playing because he is not going to move to safety and play over Reed Blankenship at strong safety. He is not going to play over CJ Gardner-Johnson at free safety.
Nope.
He is not going to play over Darius Slay right now. And Quinyon Mitchell already just pushes him down in the pecking order simply by being picked before him in this draft.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
this defense is just absolutely stacked. So, once again, since we kind of diverted from the point, I have Jalen Carter, CJ Gardner-Johnson, Darius Slay, and Bryce Huff, all from the Eagles for Defensive Player of the Year.
And I only have Bryce Huff for Defensive Player of the Year. Grayson, I want to hear your Giants. Let's flip to New York.
Okay. I've got 3.
Me too.
Okay. Then I would assume we have the same 3. Most likely.
I'll read and you tell me yes.
Okay.
Bobby Okereke.
I knew you were going to do this. Okay. I literally have in my notes, I think Luke is going to put Bobby Okereke.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't put him, personally. We've already had this discussion. You like high tackles, middle linebackers. That's not my cup of tea, personally. I respect your decision, though.
It's just, I think my reasoning for putting him at Defensive Player of the Year is like one day, like it'll be Fred Warner who leads his team in tackles and like picks. Like just something ridiculous like that.
See, the thing
I could see that.
The thing is that the guys that lead in tackles are the guys that don't play good coverage.
Yeah, most of the time.
That's the problem. That's the issue. Yep. It's like there's a trade-off. When you have a lot of tackles, it's great, but you're not a good coverage linebacker. Nobody is out here saying Foyesade Aluakon is the number 1 linebacker in the NFL. Nobody is saying that Okereke is the number 1 linebacker in the NFL. They're all saying it's Fred Warner. But Fred Warner probably had 25 to 50 less tackles than both of those guys last year.
Yeah.
So it's difficult. Who else you got for the Giants, though?
Brian Burns.
Yes, of course.
And I like Kayvon Thibodeau.
Okay, so no Dexter Lawrence.
No Dexter Lawrence for me.
Okay, those are my 3. Because one of them is going to get all the work. Because what offensive line is going to be able to handle Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau all running at them at the same time?
That's what I'm saying. I think this might be the best part of their whole team.
Oh yeah, the defensive line.
Right,
I think the defensive line is the biggest and the best part of their team because adding Burns makes Dexter Lawrence and Kayvon Thibodeau that much better. The only other 2 moves that I think they made that were amazing this offseason was the offensive line. They got John Runyon, who's been around for a long-ass time, and they got Illuminor from the Raiders, who's a fantastic left tackle. Okay. Those 2 might be the most important acquisitions the Giants had because every time that Daniel Jones has shown any shred of confidence, he's had a good offensive line.
No more Evan Neal.
Good.
Fuck it up.
Good. Thank God. He is gone. But yeah, back to the defensive side. My 3, Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau. It's just a 3-headed monster at the defensive line. And Thibodeau also underrated when he drops into coverage. Yeah,
definitely. He's an athlete.
Yeah.
Let's see. We'll save Cowboys for last and hit Commanders. My only one is Bobby Wagner. Last year he made 96 solo tackles. His career best is 97.
Yep. I've got Bobby in my surprise players because I think a lot of people are probably forgetting that he's on that team.
Yeah. Great pickup.
I do have 2 Commanders though.
Seattle did him dirty, but go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, I've got 2 Commanders, and I think Bobby Wagner obviously going to play for former defensive coordinator of his, Dan Quinn.
Yes.
But my 2 Commanders, Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen. They're both just dogs on that defensive line. Yes, they've been abandoned. They got abandoned by Montez Sweat and Chase Young, but they are still both beasts on that interior defensive line. So I'm sure one of them is going to reap the benefits of the other being there.
Yeah. And then my 2 Cowboys are Micah and Diggs.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's other names you could probably list for the Cowboys, but like you said, Deron Bland getting hurt kind of takes him out of the running. And it's really just that a number of the players on that defense are not quite what they used to be.
Yeah.
Eric Kendricks 5 years ago on the Vikings. Oh, yeah. He's there for sure.
Yeah.
Now it's just
DeMarcus Lawrence.
Yeah. Back in the day.
Man.
Shit.
Yeah.
Be no avoiding him.
It's crazy that we can say back in the day now. We're at this point in our lives
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
watching sports.
Soon enough, we're going to be
Leighton
saying
Vander
back
Esch
in the
when he
day
got
on
drafted.
this podcast.
Yeah.
Coming up on 2 years. We're getting there. Got what?
Yeah.
Just over 2 months. Pretty cool.
Yeah, just over 2 months. Yeah,
22
I'm excited
months
for
into
that.
the game. Okay. Let's talk rookies then. Is that everything for defense? Right? Yeah, we hit
Yeah, are we
everybody.
doing our surprise rookies or rookies of the year?
Let's do actually, you know what? Let's start doing that. Let's talk our surprise rookies and then we'll talk rookie of the year. Surprise rookies are
Alright.
so separate from everything else.
Yeah. Well, this is where I have an absolute shit ton.
Well, then I'd like you to just go ahead and then once you're done, I'll just circle back to the guys I've got because I'm sure they're on your list.
Okay. Surprise rookies, not really a surprise, but I really like the pickup of Tyler Guyton from the Cowboys. Just, they've had a great offensive line. It feels like for I mean almost like 8 years
Yeah.
probably. And I just
Unbelievable.
like that they're keeping that tradition there.
Yeah, underrated loss of theirs, Tyler Biotis heading to the Commanders. Big move.
Yeah.
Center. Go ahead.
Yeah, he was nice. Marshawn Keelan, the edge out of Western Michigan, second round draft pick.
Just
Keeland,
yes.
sorry.
No worries.
Disney Datney. He's behind Micah on the depth chart, but just from what I've read about him, he just seems like an absolute freak of nature. Cooper Beebe, center out of Kansas State.
Yes.
Really, I'm liking him as well. I don't know. I know he's second on the depth chart here for Dallas, but I don't really know much about Brock Hoffman, so I'm certain that maybe they're looking at Cooper Beebe to start maybe later in the season. Who knows? Or just sit a year behind. But he's a good talent, I think, for them. Marist Lafau?
Yeah,
anyway, the linebacker they drafted him linebacker out of Notre Dame. I've just heard he's a freak athlete. Not really a lot of like football IQ, but if he can tweak that, I mean, he's a dangerous human being.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like Kalen Carson, the cornerback out of West Forest.
Okay. Wake Forest, I would assume is what you're trying to say.
Oh my God, yeah, Wake, not West Forest.
West Forest.
Jesus.
All right.
Maybe I should have waited to take that melatonin.
I have Marshawn Kneeland for the Cowboys. That's it. I like him a lot.
Okay.
He was kind of a first-round sleeper in my eyes. I didn't know if he'd make it in the first round. I knew that he was kind of floating. So I did like Marshawn Kneeland.
Yeah. Moving down to the Eagles, Cooper DeJean, obviously. He's only a surprise because he may not get playing time right away. But he will definitely be an effective member of their team, I think, anytime he gets on the field. And then the only other Eagle player I have is Will Shipley, the running back out of Clemson. He had a PFF 99th percentile in athleticism.
Yeah. He's an athlete.
So
for sure.
I feel like maybe, maybe if Saquon goes down, we've seen it happen before. Hopefully not, but the Eagles could be in good hands with Will Shipley.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey type running back.
Yeah,
for obvious reasons. Maybe a Rex Burkhead, if you will. For the Eagles, I have Cooper DeJean, of course. Quinyon Mitchell, I put here. I don't think he'll be in the Rookie of the Year type, just because he'll get outshadowed by Keeley and Darius Slay. So I put Quinyon there as well. And honestly, just the entire Eagles draft class was super underrated. I think they had the best draft class in the league. Obviously, before they've put it on the field. I'm saying that.
Yeah.
But I do think they had the best draft class. They made a shitload of picks, and they are all important factors in their team depth-wise. You touched on Will Shipley, who I think could be an impact player. I think Johnny Wilson is already third on the depth chart at wide receiver, and he was a late pick. I like Johnny. Can't catch a ball at the hips because he's too tall and his arms are too long, but insane range to catch the ball, insane size. He's like 6'7". At wide receiver, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, that guy.
So Johnny Wilson, I think, could have an impact. That also could just be my bias. But yeah, those are kind of the main guys that I could think of, at least right now, for the Eagles.
And who knows, with the 6'7" wide receiver, you could always, put him on some protein,
Yeah,
do all that stuff, and he's a tight end.
yeah. All of a sudden,
It's Darnell Washington. All right, moving down to the Commanders. May have to help me out with this name again, but we have Mike. I know Mike. Sainstrel? Sainristel?
I think it's Sainstrel.
Sainstrel.
I'm not reading it at the moment. I would assume it's Sainstrel. I'm pulling it up though, but you can continue.
Anyway, he was a cornerback out of Michigan. He was second in college football interceptions last year. 90.3 PFF grade is fourth among Big Ten corners.
Okay.
And I think that grade is in coverage. Yes, it is in coverage.
I believe it's Sainristil.
Sainristil.
At least that's how it's cool. Phonetically spelled.
I also like Ben Sinnott, tight end out of Kansas State. I think he'll be an impact player early on. You even mentioned it earlier with the wide receivers that the Commanders have, which they don't.
Yeah.
But Luke McCaffrey, honestly, could be primed to move up very, very fast. And also, shout out to the last pick in my draft.
Yes, I was about to say, is this like is this just maybe you gambled on the right guy in fantasy, so you wanted to put him here?
Exactly.
No, I have Luke McCaffrey here as well. He's very
very weird, I guess, position. Very weird career regarding position for Luke McCaffrey.
Yeah.
He was a quarterback for a while. A lot of people are kind of worried that he doesn't know the techniques of a wide receiver. However, he is so athletic that I guess it just makes up for it for right now.
Yeah. And
so
was Ed McCaffrey a wide receiver? I believe he was.
Oh, we'll have to look that up. We got to check that.
Yeah, Ed McCaffrey was a wide receiver, so don't question his ability to play wide receiver. His dad was one and won a Super Bowl.
Well, his son Luke is a quarterback turned wide receiver, so we'll see. Dominique Hampton, cornerback out of Washington. PFF grade 81st percentile in pass coverage in the box. He's like a 6'3" corner that really only plays around a linebacker spot. I guess he'd be a nickel.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think he could be kind of interesting to see, and specifically nickel formations for the Commanders. I think he can make some plays.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a good one to look at. Surprised you haven't said Jerzon Newton. Their first, their second pick. I like him a lot. I think it's gonna be hard to get playing time for him.
Yeah.
But I think he would be the guy to step up in the event of an injury on that defensive line.
For sure, and that's a great replacement.
Because, honestly, for me, he was until that knee injury at the very end of the season. Jerzon Newton was super high up on my draft board. Got a knee injury at the end of the season. Wasn't able to go to the combine. Really slowed down pro days and workouts and everything. For him, after all of that, to go second round, fourth pick, the second round, is a testament to how good he really was. He could have been the number one defensive tackle taken off the board. Instead, he falls. I think he ends up being the third off the board.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Jerzon Newton's very good. It's just, will he get the chance to get on the field?
Exactly.
What do you got for the Giants?
All right, you ready for me to... Yeah, I'm going to get into my Giants now. Tyrone Tracy Jr., running back out of Purdue.
I like that.
This dude is... First of all, Devin Singletary's the only man standing in front of him.
Yes.
Devin Singletary doesn't do much.
But
this guy ran a 4.48 40-yard dash. He had a 40-inch vertical and 46 missed tackles on 114 carries in 2023.
How?
Which is just wild. But he's a little bit strange. He's a 6-year college guy, one season at running back.
Huh. Was he a wide receiver?
I don't know.
Huh.
It wasn't in the article that I read, and I never researched it.
All right. Interesting. I like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty high on him though. I like him a lot. Then my only other guy for the Giants is Andrew Phillips, cornerback out of Kentucky. 23 defensive stops led the SEC last year.
Yeah, he was very good for Kentucky. So that one
Yeah.
definitely a good pick. I've got Tyler Nubin. That's the only Giant I have. I think he's really good. I, I don't know if he's exactly going to replace Xavier McKinney.
Yeah.
it's some big shoes to fill. And I guess he is more of a strong safety than a free safety, so he's not really replacing him. But I think Nubin will get his shot quickly. Dane Belton is the strong safety ahead of him on the depth chart. Not an impressive player to be ahead of you. And I love Tyler Nubin. I know you did too throughout the draft process. I think you had him with a first round pick for somebody. Yeah. So I think maybe was he your Packers first round pick maybe?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was exactly it.
I don't know how the fuck I just remember that.
That's crazy.
It tells you how much studying I do for the draft when I knew that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tyler Nubin, extremely good safety, phenomenal combine. Very excited to see him play. I just don't know if he'd be a rookie of the year candidate.
Yeah. Which if we can go ahead and start rookie of the year.
Let's do it.
I'll start with the Giants, and my first player is Tyler Nubin.
Yeah. I figured it since he wasn't here for that, you'd probably put him in there.
Yeah. PFF 90.1 coverage grade in 2023, which was first among Power 5 safeties.
Wow.
He also has moved all over the secondary his whole career, so that could help him find playing time in this Giants team. High IQ, and his passer rating from 2021 to 2023 was 33.3.
Wow.
Or like a 33.0, something like that.
That's amazing.
He is just a freakazoid of nature. My only other Giant is obviously Malik Neighbors.
Yes.
I don't know why, but dude, I'm starting to get to the point where I think he could be more talented than Marvin. I don't know. I
think he's more athletic. I could say that confidently.
Yes.
I think he's a better athlete than Marvin Harrison Jr. Fundamentally, how could I say right now that the son of an NFL legend at wide receiver is not a better wide receiver than Malik Neighbors? It's hard to say.
My only caveat with Malik though is I really think Aaron Judge. Way different levels of talent here. I can't even think of his fucking name. Daniel Jones. Just shows you how high I am on Daniel Jones this year.
Yeah, you can't remember
he is not. I don't think he's going to get it done. Now, with what you said on the linemen that they added, the Giants, they added some good linemen. I think that's going to be great. I just really, really think Daniel Jones is done.
I don't know. I think it's pretty common for a guy in his first year after getting a big deal to not exactly show up. That happens all the time. It's just a matter of complacency. The year before, it's a contract year. He earned $40 fucking million a year in that contract year. He was nothing short of amazing 2 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But last year, he got paid, and he played like shit. At some point, you have to start thinking, if you're Daniel Jones, okay, maybe it's not a contract year. I'm locked up for the next, this season and 2 more. But I need to start playing so I don't get traded or I don't get cut 2 years through this deal. So he's got to turn it around. They're giving him the options. They decided not to pursue Saquon heavily because they believe in Daniel Jones. Now, is that the right move? I don't think so. But you already paid him. You didn't pay Saquon when you had the chance to last year. Instead, you paid Daniel Jones. Now they are investing in him, and I can appreciate that on their end. I can appreciate the fact that they went out and they got 2 of the best offensive linemen in free agency. And yes, they gave up on Saquon, but they brought in Devin Singletary. They drafted a running back like you talked about with Tyrone Tracy. They're making efforts. They got him weapons. He has weapons. There is no more excuses to say that he does not have weapons at wide receiver because he's got Malik Neighbors now. He's got Wan'Dale Robinson. He's got Darius Slayton. And even at wide receiver 4, he's got Jalen Hyatt, who I am not very high on, but he's whatever.
Yep.
You can't make excuses now for Daniel Jones. And Malik Neighbors is the guy that would change that. He is the needle mover, in my opinion.
Okay, I like that.
So obviously, I have Malik Neighbors for Rookie of the Year. We've already talked.
All
He
of
was in
that
my
to say-
play. He was in my Offensive Player of the Year. Of course, he was going to be here.
Yeah. My only commander is Jaden Daniels.
Same.
I don't think Offensive Player of the Year is in the realm for Jaden Daniels. However, I can't remember the last time I saw a quarterback as athletic as him, but also with the arm talent that he has. In a combine at least, it is amazing. He's a specimen too. He's huge.
Yeah.
He is massive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a big fan of Jaden Daniels.
Biggest thing that I've got going for Jaden Daniels is just rewind it real quick. 2023 draft. Who went 1? Who went 2? That's all I got.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Second one's the best one.
Sometimes that's how
Yeah.
it goes. Carson Wentz, Jared Goff.
Uh-oh.
I don't know, people. You tell me. No, I love Caleb Williams. I do think he'll probably be better than Jaden Daniels, but Jaden Daniels still has the opportunity to be extremely good this season. Okay, let's get to any more Rookie of the Years for you? Sorry.
Yeah, I have one more.
Okay. I would assume I
no
know who it is.
Cowboys.
Yeah.
My only Eagle is Quinyon Mitchell,
Yep.
cornerback out of Toledo. He looks like he could be the greatest corner ever.
Dude, look, he was my number 1 cornerback in this draft class, so I do not mind you saying that. I just don't think he's going to get the opportunities necessary to be up there.
Yeah, I mean, Darius Slay is like 32, 33.
Sure.
You never know. When is the cliff going to hit?
Yeah. If I had it my way, he'd have been a Falcon last year.
That would have been sick.
Dude, remember when that was close to happening?
Yeah.
Man. Remember when the Falcons almost had Lamar Jackson last year?
And Deshaun Watson a couple years ago.
Yeah, that too. I'm glad we didn't give up our future for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
The Browns might have fucked themselves with that one. We'll see. Okay, let's get to some real surprise players. I've got 3, not too many. Just because I had so many rookies.
I have like 12.
Okay, then I'm going to go first this time.
Go
And
ahead.
I'm going to let you go. Starting with the Commanders, got Bobby Wagner, of course.
Yeah.
And I also have Zach Ertz. Don't sleep on Ertz being there.
Ooh. Yeah.
He's a weapon. He's
Yeah.
definitely better than Olamide Zaccheaus. So that's what he's got going for him. And the thing is rookie quarterbacks love their tight ends. That's always. Like, I couldn't tell people enough. Go draft, like, if you haven't done your fantasy draft yet, draft Cole Kmet. Because he's going to be the safety blanket. That's how it goes for every guy. If you're a rookie quarterback and you have an experienced tight end, Dalton Schultz might have been one of my favorite pickups last year. Yeah, there was weeks where he had 1.5 points. But he was a consistent touchdown guy, consistent receptions guy for C.J. Stroud last season, and it was huge, fantasy-wise.
Yeah.
Experienced tight end with a rookie quarterback always seems to look good. Even Hayden Hurst had his games last year with Bryce Young. So I think Zach Ertz with Jaden Daniels is a great tandem. So he's definitely a surprise player.
All right, I like that. Is that your only 3?
My third one is Keely Ringo for the Eagles. I think people are kind of forgetting about him. There was so much talk when he got drafted by the Eagles, like, are they going to move him to safety? That was the big talk with Keely Ringo throughout the draft process. Are they going to move him to safety? Well, they didn't move him. Hopefully it doesn't happen to Cooper DeJean. But Keely Ringo, I believe in him this year. I think this is his time to shine with Bradbury out.
Yeah. Well, Keely Ringo was also one of my surprise players. So I guess I'll just keep it with the Eagles. I have 2 more. Jahan Dotson, I love that trade.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a great support role in that offense. And then I put C.J. Gardner-Johnson here because he did not play at all last season. So I think it's going to surprise a lot of people how he just comes back from injury and is a dog. I think he's going to have a fantastic year.
Yeah, I like that.
Moving to the Cowboys now, I got Jake Ferguson. I'm ready for him to take that tight end step. Like,
Totally forgot to put
like,
him here. Honestly, for
yeah.
me, he's right in between Offensive Player of the Year and Surprise Player. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he's great. Also, he's on my fantasy team. But it's like I
Yeah.
reserved 2 spots for Offensive Player of the Year for tight ends.
Yeah.
Jake Ferguson just isn't quite in that spot yet.
No, he's not. But he's going to be great. I think he can only get better
Yeah.
from what, he has been. Mazzie Smith, I think it's year 2
Yes.
for Mazzie Smith.
Yes.
I really am excited for him going
that.
into his sophomore season. And then Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, that was one that I did these notes before I knew that he was going to be there.
Yeah. I would honestly love to see Dalvin Cook be RB1.
I would just like to see Dalvin Cook get a fucking chance.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Honestly.
Dude. I just want him to get a damn chance. He got screwed out of his job in Minnesota, in my opinion. It was just a couple of a looming ankle injury. Pretty much lost him the job in Minnesota. Didn't pay off for
Alexander Madison.
Yeah, did not pay off for them whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because Alexander Madison is bad and Ty Chandler's worse. And Cam Akers, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
So it did not work out for them. And then he ends up on the Jets. That didn't work because he was still injured, and Breece Hall just boomed. And then didn't work on the Ravens for a week in the playoffs.
Oh my! I totally forgot about the Ravens.
Yeah, that didn't work either.
Yeah,
so
I tried to assemble the Avengers to beat the Chiefs.
I want Dalvin to get a shot, and I despise Rico Dowdle for some reason. He doesn't deserve it. He's never done anything that would make anybody not like him, but I don't. I don't know why. Maybe it's because he took some snaps from Tony Pollard last year, and it upset me.
Yeah. I wanted Tony Pollard to have a great year last year. But anyway, I got 2 more teams. For the Commanders, I have Brian Robinson, and then Frankie Louvu.
Yeah,
Louvu. Yeah, I'm really high on both of them.
Like that.
With the Giants, I have 2 more players. Deontay Banks. Yeah, I want it to be his year. I liked him whenever he came out of college. And then Azeez Ojulari.
Yeah, I like
him a lot too. Yeah.
Very good. Is that everything?
That's everything.
All right. Man, just like that.
It's soccer time!
Just like that, it's NFL season.
Soccer time?
It's really here.
Oh, it's not NFL season. We got to outro it. We'll have to cut that.
No, we're not cutting shit. We don't cut anything.
I thought we were jumping into soccer time.
No, not just yet. I want to kind of recap the league, recap the previews, all this stuff. So, first of all, what's the outlook on the NFC Beast? Because for years now, it's been this ultra competitive division and blah blah blah. Well, last year was not that. Yeah, it was close at the top, but nobody gave a fuck about what the Giants and Commanders were doing on a weekly basis after like week 5.
Yeah.
Whereas,
exactly
3-4 years ago, the Commanders were making the playoffs, almost beating Tom Brady and the Buccaneers with Taylor Heineke. You had 2 years ago, Daniel Jones and the Giants beating the Vikings in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
It was like there was a time where Daniel Jones didn't have to start week 17 because they locked up their playoff spot.
Didn't you convince me that Daniel Jones was the best dual threat quarterback in the playoffs that year? Among like Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts? Yeah. I don't know. I think you said that.
I did.
But
I definitely did.
I mean, I think you were right at the time.
He's a good runner.
He is.
He's just coming off of injuries now, and I don't know how that's going to look this year.
Yeah.
I still like Daniel Jones. I'm not giving up on that one.
Oh, no, definitely not. I think this division, it's really tough to say. It kind of depends on what the young guys on the Giants can do. I think, I honestly, I really don't know. This is a very confusing division to
It
look
is.
at.
I don't
Even
think it's
after the
quite as
preview,
competitive as it used to be.
definitely not.
I think the beast part is fading.
NFC least.
Maybe because the NFC South's turning things around.
Yeah,
We'll have to see. It's
that's
certainly
very
not
true.
the West and the North are definitely not the least. That's for sure.
Yeah. However, I will say one thing about the NFC East is, I mean,
There's
we've probably said this about every division. The talent is
oh
there.
man, and there's 2 playoff teams, so
Yeah.
you definitely can't count that out either. All
No.
right. Before we get into soccer, NFL season's coming up, ready to go. So, programming update. If you didn't watch last week, go ahead and watch again, or go back and watch. If you don't watch last week, talked about it then. Starting this coming week now, NFL will lead off the show every single week. Then it will be MLB. Then it will be soccer. So just programming update for everybody that typically, I don't know if you skip the MLB part to get to the NFL, don't, because it will now be leading off the show. Super excited for NFL season. We're gonna stick to our pretty similar content style, at least for how we were doing it last year. So we're gonna talk about every single game, and whether that be in depth, whether that be just quick, brief, off the top kind of discussions on some games, and then we'll give score predictions here and there. We'll try and give score predictions on every game. We tried it last year. It's difficult.
It is.
It is very difficult. And
Just get ready to sit down with us for 3 hours instead of 2.
Oh God. I hope not. For my sake. For me as the editor of this podcast. For my sake, let's not do 3-hour episodes. Okay. With that being said, we are wasting a lot of time. So it is soccer time. You were right earlier. Just a little too early with that.
Amateur soccer time.
It is now soccer time, specifically Premier League weekend. Let's just go ahead and get it started. Arsenal versus Brighton. To start it off, 7:30 in the morning.
Insane game.
Love this matchup.
Yes.
Primarily because both of these teams are finding ways to score. Like, we knew that Brighton was good. We liked their players. We didn't know how the change would be coming out of this season with a new coach. They've looked great, regardless of who's on the field. Danny Welbeck getting on the scoring sheet again. Yao Pedro scoring in the 95th minute against Manchester United last week. Brighton is just finding ways to score. Maybe not as much unlikely goal scorers as Arsenal is seeing, because Arsenal last week goes out. Like, I talked about how much I did not trust the Arsenal lineup that they were putting out. And I didn't like them going into that match against Villa. Well, then, of course, the goals come from 2 very unlikely goal scorers in Leandro Trossard and Thomas Partey. Like, I did not expect those 2 to be the goal scorers in a decisive early in the season match against a potential top 4 opponent.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's crazy. And they clean-sheeted Villa, which is huge for the defensive side.
Yeah, they really killed Ollie Watkins that game.
Yeah, he's been getting killed in general. But both these teams are just finding ways to score. So, honestly, nobody's getting a clean sheet. I'll take that out of the cards right now. Nobody's getting a clean sheet in this one. But Arsenal's defense looks phenomenal. If you can stop Villa, I think you can stop Brighton, personally. So I'm going to take Arsenal 2-1 in this.
Okay, I definitely like that. I think Arsenal actually shuts them out. I'm going to take Arsenal 2-0. Definitely, the probability of both teams scoring is high.
Yeah.
I just I'm betting on Arsenal's defense, man. I mean, yeah, like both teams have scored a lot, but one team has 2 clean sheets against Wolves and Aston Villa. So, yeah, I think it's going to be Arsenal. They're just it'll be Arsenal.
Okay. Yeah, I think the biggest thing for Brighton though is like the 3 guys that in my mind lead this team right now, Matoma, Adingra, and Welbeck, have been involved in goals in all the matches so far.
Yeah.
Adingra and Matoma assisted the 2 goals scored in the last match. Welbeck has scored twice in those 2 matches. It just, everything is firing right now in this new scheme after De Zerbi. But yeah, I do like Arsenal personally in this match. Okay, let's skip over to Sunday. There is a good other Saturday matchup, West Ham versus Man City. But we talk about those two teams quite a bit, and we've already talked about West Ham a little bit, so I wanted to talk about some teams maybe that we haven't talked about as much, which is Newcastle, really.
Hey, up the tune.
So we skipped the Sunday, and we've got Newcastle versus Spurs. Up the tune, baby. Shout out AG. Sandro Tonali's back. I'm so fucking happy about that. He played in Wednesday's Carabao Cup match, which, it's whatever. Joe Willock did score a goal in the 20th second of the game, which was awesome, in that Carabao Cup match midweek versus Nottingham Forest, in which we did go to penalties and win 1-1. We scored in the 20th second of the game and then had to win on penalties. Last weekend, Anthony Gordon, 76-minute goal to salvage a point versus Bournemouth. Now, look, I'm not happy about draws, but this all comes at a cost. Sandro Tonali being back, Joe Willock looked good finally, AG scoring. It all comes at a cost. Still no Sven Botman. He was out from September till December last year. Played from December to March. He's out from March until January.
Oh.
January. He has been out since March. And we're still not going to get to see him until January. On top of that, Jamal Lascelles, our other center back that kind of plays behind him, out until January.
Oh, no.
On top of that, Fabian Schär is on the final game of his 3-match suspension this weekend, off of that bullshit red card in the opener against Southampton. So no Fabian Schär as well. So I don't know who the fuck is playing center back, honestly.
It might be Phil Jones.
It might be. And then, of course, Callum Wilson still hurt. He's going to be out for a few more weeks. Lewis Miley also out for a month or two. So all the depth that we had as well at center back, in the midfield, at striker, gone immediately. So that doesn't help for sure. And then Spurs is coming off of a 4-0 thrashing of Everton last weekend. Son got the brace. Still didn't even have Dominic Solanke. He's still out with an ankle injury for a few more weeks. And they still beat the shit out of Everton. I must say, Tottenham's defense, though. I absolutely love their defense. I think it's extremely, maybe overlooked when you look at it, but Vicario was phenomenal last year. It's been an absolutely amazing replacement for Hugo Lloris.
Yeah.
Udogie, the left back, who did leave the game last week, but he's going to be good for this match. He's a great left back, good young player. Mickey Van de Ven and Romero in the center is unstoppable at the moment. Those two are so good. Like in this last game, Romero scored a goal and Mickey Van de Ven got an assist. Just out of nowhere. And they both played stellar defense as well. And then Pedro Porro at right back. Like, it is an unbelievable defensive four and goalie. And then on top of that, at defensive midfield, or in defensive midfield, you have Yves Bissouma, who has looked phenomenal, and he got on the scoring sheet last week as well.
Yeah.
This defense is unbelievably good for Tottenham, and it serves them well against a depleted Newcastle squad.
Yeah, and, for now, not having Solanke doesn't really matter when Son is able to get 2 goals at striker.
Yeah, exactly. He was on the left wing. They had, what's his name, Brennan Johnson at striker.
Oh, my lineup says that he played striker.
Oh, okay. I had seen Brennan Johnson, so, yeah, there's discrepancies always, but I had seen Son on the left.
Yeah, I think this is shaping up to be a pretty good game. Of course, a 4-0 win over Everton is good, but it is Everton, so I do want to take that with a couple grains of salt. And then, their game before was a 1-1 draw against Leicester, who just got promoted.
Yeah.
Regardless of what Leicester may be, they did just get promoted, and now they're tying Tottenham match day 1. So I think Newcastle has a shot here. So I'm just gonna go in the middle. I think it's gonna be a 1-1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're falling right back into this issue of having no depth available for Newcastle right now.
Yeah.
And I really hate that it's in the defense against a team that's coming off of a good offensive showing. So I'm gonna take Spurs 2-1. I do trust Newcastle to score. They've been doing a good job of that. Joe Ellington has been all over the place. Honestly, Bruno is still Bruno, just absolutely consistent as it can be in the midfield. Miguel Almiron's got to be gone soon. Of course, like I tried not to even say anything about it, but he was so close to being on Charlotte FC. So close, and it fell through last week, and it was demoralizing, to say the least.
Dang, Charlotte FC back in the MLS?
Yeah.
Wow.
I wish, dude. I wish he was gone. But he's not.
In Atlanta, a Georgia native does not like Miguel Almiron.
No. Well, I don't like him in Newcastle. Loved him in Atlanta. If he wants to come back to Atlanta, he's more than welcome. I'm sure he would be elite in the MLS. Just,
you know what?
He's not good at Newcastle.
To be honest, I will say that after Josef Martinez blew out his knee and then at the end of the season flipped that table over, he just had a freak out in the locker room. I didn't really like him either, but his jersey was still everywhere.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, I get on turning on players.
Yep.
It's always fun.
So, yeah, like I said, I do think Newcastle's going to lose, unfortunately, but I really just think it's a depth problem once again. It's not a good way to start the season. Shout out Tino Livramento, though. Got the call-up for next week. First England senior call-up.
Oh, good for him.
Same time, though, Kieran Trippier retiring from England.
How old is he?
34?
What?
Yeah, Kieran Trippier has been around for a while. I think he made his England debut in 2016.
Yeah, he's 33.
Yeah, 33.
Wow, I did not think he was that old.
Yep. Yeah, I believe he made his debut for England in 2016. But yeah, international retirement for Kieran Trippier. The guy's had a lot of big injuries as well throughout his career, so it's not all that surprising that he's trying to slow it down now. Is that all for Newcastle Spurs?
I think so. What I said 1-1, you said 2-1 Spurs?
Yep.
All right.
Let's talk about probably the biggest matchup of the week, at least viewership-wise. Manchester United versus Liverpool. I don't know if it's the best,
man.
but definitely a big one.
I want to go ahead and give him a score prediction.
Do it.
Liverpool's going to win 3-0.
Wow.
So long as Manchester United is content with Bruno Fernandes at striker,
I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, putting, you know, I hate using this word, but putting a pussy at striker in the Premier League when you're playing against, like Higuain said, wardrobes.
Yeah,
it's not going to go well, and it hasn't for Manchester United.
Nope.
I mean, I think if it once, I'm still standing. I can't talk. Jesus, getting excited over United. Once Manchester United figures it out with this awesome transfer window that they had, and it all comes together, then my prediction of them being third place will, take a stand there. But
yeah,
for now, they have started the season so awfully. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of Manchester United at all. But anyway, you can take it away.
Yeah.
Getting off my soapbox.
I'm kind of just going to pile on. United's coming off of a Brighton loss that I thought was extremely bad, even though they only lost 2-1. It was an extremely, extremely bad showing by Manchester United across the board. And it warrants large changes to this lineup. Like, huge changes. De Ligt needs to be starting over Harry Maguire right fucking now. It's been long enough. He's been with the squad for like 4 weeks now.
Forgot about that.
He needs to be starting over Harry Maguire. Bringing on Matheus de Ligt in the 71st minute is fucking useless because the damage has been done. You let Harry Maguire play 71 minutes. That's what that means. That's the issue. It's not that de Ligt is coming in then. It's that Maguire played that long.
Yeah.
Get Mason Mount the fuck out of this lineup. Oh my God. Just stop. It's so bad. Get him out. Either get him out or get out Rashford. One of the two's got to go. They've both been horrendous.
Yeah.
Then put Xerxes up top. Stop subbing him in late in the game, too. I know he made a huge impact in that opening game, scores the winning goal. Just start him, please. Give him more than 30 minutes to make an impact, or less. Stop doing that. And that way you can put Fernandez back at camp because you really don't have any other option. Højlund's still out for like 2 more weeks. You don't have any other option at striker. Marcus Rashford certainly can't make it happen there.
Yeah.
So it's just Rashford and Xerxes that are healthy right now. You need to put Xerxes at striker, put Bruno back at camp. They just completed the signing of Manuel Ugarte from PSG, which I think is a fantastic move. It's another defensive midfielder, which I don't love when you already have Casemiro and Kobe Mainoo. But I get it because you're probably going to move on from Casemiro in the winter, maybe. Also, fun fact about Casemiro, his pace on FIFA or FC 25 went down 30 from last year. It was a 65. It's now 35, I believe, was the number I saw, which is unusable for those that do not play FIFA or
it's like
FC 25.
it's like biscuits.
Yeah, it's literally that's like what Sergio Busquets' pace was in like his prime on FIFA.
Yeah, they got 88 overall, 37 pace.
Yeah, they finished the signing of Ugarte. You probably won't see him this weekend unless it's a really late sub. Because the game is on Sunday, but signing was made today. So you probably won't see him, which means we won't see him until after the international break. So we'll have to wait on that one. But still, if you put Bruno back at cam, you take Mount out of the lineup, arguably take out Rashford for Garnacho, in my opinion. Amad Diallo can stay in. He looks great on the right wing.
Yeah, whoever that guy is just really submitted his spot already.
Yeah, and then put Xerxes up top and put De Ligt at center back, and I think you have a way better lineup tenfold. It allows, I think Mazraoui will play better if De Ligt is on his side, helping him in defense. I think Diogo Dalot has not played bad, honestly.
No, not at all.
You have things figured out. Just let it happen. Let it work out. You made all these signings. Use them.
Exactly.
Like the entire squad is players that they had last year. And you had this huge transfer window that everybody's been talking about, and they're not starting. It makes no sense.
I wonder why Mazraoui is able to work his way in quicker than De Ligt. Like, what is he doing differently than De Ligt and Xerxes?
He's literally only been there like a week or 2 more than De Ligt.
Yeah.
And him and De Ligt are literally teammates for the last 2 years in Bayern.
Yeah.
Just let them on the field at the same time.
Yep.
On the Liverpool side, they're just handling their opponents.
Surprising the shit out of me.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, Arne Slot has not missed a step.
No.
But also, those opponents have been Ipswich and Brentford. So take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
They still haven't made like any signings. I think they made 1 signing, and it was an academy player.
Chiesa should be joining him soon.
Chiesa should be joining soon.
Chiesa.
That whole situation's crazy. Obviously, we're not doing transfer news anymore, but it's a situation.
It is.
Chiesa to Barcelona was all but done.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Whatever. Liverpool is handling things. I'm not trying to say that they had a bad squad, and I don't think either of us have said that. It's just they didn't change anything, and they weren't. It was a bit of a down year last year, and they didn't change anything.
Yeah.
So what gives? Like, you didn't upgrade your manager, at least to our knowledge as of now. So what warranted not making any moves after a managerial change and after a relative down year for Liverpool?
I wish I had the answer to that question.
Yeah, I can't explain it either. So don't feel bad. I think it's
Diogo
crazy.
Jota, striker's been surprisingly really good for Liverpool.
Yeah, he
though,
has been pretty good.
first two
He's not as
games.
much of a goal scorer,
No.
but he creates chances, and I can always appreciate that because he is
yeah,
much more of a false nine, anyways, when he's in that position. So
And it
that makes
works
sense.
really well with Soboslai, Salah,
Yes.
and Diaz. And Salah and Diaz are, I would say they're
Oh
like
my
natural
God.
goal getters. They're disgusting, both
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah, I would.
Bald Salah has been ridiculous in 2024.
Yes, he is very good.
Yes.
When he finally embraced the fact that his hairline was not even there. He didn't have one to speak for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Liverpool. You already gave your score prediction of 3-0. I'm gonna go 2-0. But yeah, Liverpool definitely gonna win this one.
Yes.
Rest of the Premier League lineup is you've got Saturday. Arsenal Brighton starts it off at 7:30. Gross. Not good enough for that one. Well, I'll be up. I just won't be watching the game. Brentford, Southampton, Everton, Bournemouth, Ipswich, Fulham, Leicester, Aston Villa, and Nottingham Forest, Wolves. So if you wanted to watch soccer at 10 o'clock, your option is to stab yourself in the eyeballs. Standalone game, West Ham, Man City. Do yourself a favor. Sleep until noon on Saturday, and you'll have 30 minutes to get ready for West Ham, Man City. Sunday, you've got Chelsea, Crystal Palace at 8:30, as well as Newcastle and Spurs at 8:30, and then Manchester United, Liverpool at 11, standalone. And then go to an international break. So like we said, we will be covering the UCL next week. We'll talk about the draw because it's way too much to get into this week.
Really could be a whole episode.
It might be. We might just have to put out a standalone video on Wednesday explaining it. But yeah, we will be talking about the Champions League. But I think it might turn into more of a like week by week discussion because we don't know what's going to happen because nobody plays the same opponent twice. It bothers the shit out of me. I hate it. We also haven't seen them do anything. So hating it doesn't mean anything yet. I just hate how it looks, I guess, on paper. That's where I'm at. Okay. I was going to say, I think it's questions time, like I normally would. But no, Nathan had to fucking ruin that somehow, some way. I don't know what he did this week. I'm not sure if this was lazy or him just trying to help out. Maybe try and switch things up. Keep it fresh. I don't know. But he posted the questions on Reddit and said, fuck questions time. We're reacting to tweets. And just put 3 tweets here. Of course, we're going to talk about them. But I might just throw in some questions on my own after we review these tweets.
All right, I'll be ready.
Okay. We'll start off with this one. Top 15 most valuable sports team brand values. So this is from Forbes. It's a portion of the team's value that is not attributable to the team's sport, market, venue, or league shared revenue.
Oh, okay.
So
should be interesting.
Without those things in question, I guess, or in the equation, the top 15 goes as so. Number 1, the Dallas Cowboys still. $1.73 billion in their brand value is what they're considering this. Then the New York Yankees, $1.17 billion, and then you have Real Madrid at $1.13, Manchester United at $1.12, almost $1.13. Wow. The Los Angeles Dodgers at $1.06, the Los Angeles Lakers at $1 billion. Then you drop out of the billions to Bayern Munich at $965 million. Barcelona, who wishes they had $947 million. Maybe they could complete some signings. The Golden State Warriors, $911 million. Never forget. New York Knicks, $909 million. Liverpool, $907. Manchester City, $877. PSG, $809. Then the Boston Red Sox at $747. And the Chicago Cubs at $681.
Okay.
I'm surprised that Manchester City is up there. Does that make any sense? I know they win a lot. I get that.
Yeah.
And they're bankrolled by, oil money and what have it. I don't know if their brand is that valuable. Maybe it is now just because of them winning so much and having the best
Yeah.
players.
Yeah,
I
that's
guess
kind
that's
of what
it.
I was gonna say.
But there's it's the only team in this entire thing that doesn't have a storied history outside of maybe the Golden State Warriors. But then again, their success has sustained itself. This is a true one of the best dynasties in NBA history. So
yeah,
every other team has this storied history. Even the teams behind Man City, outside of PSG, who is kind of in the same boat with Man City, the Boston Red Sox and the Chicago Cubs, that's two of the oldest franchises in American sports.
yep,
And if you go up the list for Man City and PSG, Liverpool, obviously a historic team, the New York Knicks, then the Warriors, Barcelona, Bayern, the four soccer teams, or the five soccer teams ahead of them are all the most popular soccer teams ever.
yes,
Real Madrid, Man United, Bayern, Barcelona, Liverpool, those are all significantly more historically important than Man City and PSG. Cowboys, Yankees, Dodgers, Lakers. These are the best teams and best franchises in sports ever.
yes.
And the fact that Man City and PSG, who do have winning ways recently and have seen some of the best players come through, PSG a little bit more of a history than that of Manchester City, because David Beckham at a late point in his career played for PSG, and a number of players kind of retired there almost when they had an influx of money into PSG. But obviously recently it's just been the fact that they're bankrolled.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Entirely.
It could be, well, it's not based on their market, is it?
That's what
Is
it
what you
says.
read.
Yeah, it says it doesn't factor in the sport that they play, the market, the venue, or league shared revenue.
Yeah, maybe a lot of PSG could be Mbappe.
Yeah, and I
Maybe
think it's
having
their brand.
Jordan jerseys.
That's what I was going to say. Their brand is
Yeah.
huge.
Yes,
you could go out on the street and see a guy in a PSG jersey, and he would have no fucking clue anything about PSG. He might know who Mbappe is. He might know that Messi played there.
Yeah, I mean, dude, when we were in Vegas, which is
Yeah.
in Nevada, there was a PSG store.
Yeah. It's pretty insane.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I have a PSG jersey, but I went to the team store at the Parc des Princes. That's why I bought it. So,
Yeah.
and it was fantastic deal. I think it was €60.
Oh, wow.
For an authentic PSG jersey.
I have a jersey similar. When I was in Rome, I got a Totti jersey.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, anything else you want to touch on with this valuable sports teams? Funny enough, we were kind of talking about the MLB ones before the podcast.
Yeah, no, we were. No, I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but it was an interesting point that you made with City and PSG. But like you said, the bankroll's there.
Yeah.
Majorly there.
I guess before we move on, I would like to touch on the fact that the Cowboys, unbelievable how valuable of a franchise they are. 1.7, they're almost $6 million or $600 million clear of the Yankees.
Yeah.
But then they're the only NFL team here.
Which is wild.
Yeah. That's insane.
I just think it's got to be a testament to Jerry Jones, a lot of that, right?
It is.
Just
it
being
definitely
an owner.
is. From between Jerry Jones and just the fact that during such a formative time in American culture, they were amazing. Same goes for the Yankees, but also the Yankees just always been winning for a long time. So at all turning points, you can go to the Yankees and they were winning. the Cowboys were just good at the right time. The people that are, running the world or running the country now witnessed the greatness of the Cowboys.
Yes.
So that has just been ingrained in all of us, but they haven't won a Super Bowl in decades. And they're the only NFL team here. The Patriots aren't on this list.
Was the Cowboys' last Super Bowl in the 90s, was that one against the Steelers or the Bills?
I don't recall. It was too long ago.
It was actually we don't even know that it's too long ago, technically.
Yeah.
We weren't even born.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, it just amazes me that like the Cowboys are there, but I do think it's just timing. It was all timing for the Cowboys. The biggest years of the NFL as well. Like the big turning points in the history of the NFL also just happened to cross over with the dominance of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. Definitely.
Do you think any team could make a run at them right now? Like, not even just in the NFL, in any of this? Could like Real Madrid is so far behind.
Yeah.
Like no. 600 million. Like the difference between the Yankees and the Cowboys is the same as the difference between the Yankees and the Cubs.
Which is last. Right?
15th.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I don't think anybody can.
Yeah, I genuinely do think it's impossible.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, let's go to the next thing. That was a good submitted tweet. There is no context to this one. He just put the photo. I would assume this is Hall of Fame status for active MLB players.
Okay.
So there's tiers. There is they could retire today and be in. And there's 4 players. Who do you think they are?
All right.
This is the only one.
4 players that could.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge.
Nope.
They could retire today and be in it.
Got to remember, Judge is not far into his career. No. I think the 4 are very obvious, in my opinion.
Oh, God.
There is a lot of guys nearing the end of their career that have shown some dominance.
Clayton Kershaw,
yes.
Max Scherzer.
Yes.
Is there any more pitchers on the list?
There's one more pitcher.
One more pitcher.
In that group of 4.
Tim Lincecum?
We talked about him actually on this episode. Not about his pitching. His name was brought up in a context regarding his last name.
Justin Verlander.
Yes, Justin Verlander is the other one.
Yes.
And then there's one position player, should not be hard to guess.
Is he old? Like, is he an old guy too?
He's getting there.
Is it Mike Trout?
Yeah. They've got Mike Trout in that. I agree. He's done unprecedented things in the time he's been around. So I can agree with that one. I'm not going to hold the World Series too highly when it comes to the Baseball Hall of Fame. In the probably category, a lot of names. You got Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Jose Altuve, Paul Goldschmidt, Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, Bryce Harper, Garrett Cole, Manny Machado, Nolan Arenado are all in the probably make the Hall of Fame. I kind of just agree with all of those.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I think Arenado's defense is what's getting him in right now. It's keeping him there at least. God, sorry.
You're good.
I'm trying to talk. Give me one moment.
It's all right. I got a bug attacking me.
But yeah, I think Arenado's defense, same goes for Manny Machado, honestly. Both of them, their defense keeps them here. I think they were both definitely the last of the probablys. Betts, Freeman, Altuve, I think are surefire guys. Not retired today and be in, but in 3 years, they will be in that category. And Mookie will only be 34.
Yeah.
And then Goldschmidt, I think, is like literally the closest to the retire and be in. Like 1 or 2 more good years and he's in.
Yeah.
And like nobody can argue it. Judge and Ohtani need longevity. Both of them. They're both not very far into their careers.
Yeah.
But they're both on the aging side. We already talked about the fact Aaron Judge is older than Mookie Betts. Shohei Ohtani's 29, but him and Ronald Acuna won Rookie of the Year in the same year. And Ronald Acuna, just sneak preview, is in the too early to call, but there's a chance category. And they won the Rookie of the Year in the same year. But what Ohtani has done is, like, yes, Ronald Acuna has had unprecedented moments and stats. Shohei Ohtani is leaps and bounds ahead of that. Bryce Harper, obviously. Garrett Cole, obviously, is up there. The only pitcher outside of, I guess, Ohtani that's in that probably category. Because it's really hard to get to the point where before your career is over, we could say you're a Hall of Fame pitcher. It's really difficult. You have to be one of the best in the era to get to that point.
Consistent as well.
Yeah.
There's just so many variables, into being consistent as a pitcher.
And I think the consistency is going to be in question in this next category, which is it's going to be close. I'll start off Salvador Perez. He's an interesting one. He won a World Series early in his career and just consistently stayed a fantastic power hitter, a very solid catcher defensively.
Yep.
Not like a good average hitter, but a consistent mainstay in his squad that was not very good for a number of years as well.
Yeah.
Then you have Giancarlo Stanton, who hit the highest of highs, like truly won an MVP in Miami, but he knew it wasn't a winning situation. Goes to New York, still hasn't won anything.
Yeah.
Maybe this is his year. I don't know. He's an interesting, though. He's an interesting one, though, because maybe he fell off a little too quickly from that high.
Yeah.
Like he fell off the high really quickly down to like a above average or great.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Still hits a shit ton of home runs.
Yeah. Chris Sale, biggest thing is those injuries in the middle of the career. He's 35 now. You got to do this again. This can't be a 1-year flash in the pan thing this season.
Yeah.
Jacob deGrom.
Hang on.
Sorry.
Actually, can we stick with Sale for a second?
Yeah.
There was something in MLB Recap that I forgot to talk about with Chris Sale. Chris Sale ended up having like a bases loaded situation. This is kind of just to bounce off of what you said.
Mm-hmm.
It was like bases loaded, 1 out. I think it was the game yesterday or today. He just threw 3 straight 99-mile-per-hour fastballs and struck the guy out.
Casual.
Yeah.
I
Love
do that
it
all
when
the
he gets
time.
mad. Except this time, instead of taking it out on a minor league TV, he just took it out on the batter.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Just don't give him any scissors. That's all I'm worried about. Okay, but yeah, next one, Jacob deGrom. Same thing, injuries. It's the biggest thing. Got to stay healthy. If he can come back from this Tommy John and really stay in it and keep going, he's gonna make it. He's unbelievable.
He's throwing again, right?
Yeah. He's starting to throw some bullpens.
Yeah.
Next 2 guys I love. I think both of them are going to be Hall of Famers when it's said and done. Kenley Jansen and Craig Kimbrell. They're the 2 best closers of this decade. This last decade, they are the 2, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Clase, it's very early, but he is in that next category of too early to call, but there's a chance. Clase is doing unprecedented things. I don't even know if people are realizing it. Obviously, we all know he's great, but he is really on like Trevor Hoffman, Mariano Rivera conversation, and nobody realizes it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the too early to call, but there's a chance it's kind of interesting to me because there's a couple guys here that I think should maybe be in probably, but winning could be their biggest obstacle. Carlos Correa. Okay, actually, I'm going to say the whole first 3 on this because I think they're the borderline guys. Carlos Correa, Francisco Lindor, and Jose Ramirez. If Lindor and Ramirez won that World Series back in 2016, they would be in probably. Guarantee it right now.
Yeah.
If they won that World Series, but they did not. Correa's got the World Series. he doesn't have the consistency year to year, primarily because of injury.
Yeah.
But it's not too early in his career, in my opinion. I don't think he perfectly fits this category. So I don't think it's too early.
I would only put good changeup in probably out of those three
Okay.
guys.
I think Lindor, the glove, adds to it for me.
Yeah, that is true.
Multi-time Gold Glove winner. You got two Astros next, Bregman and Alvarez. Jordan Alvarez,
Yeah.
questionable. Definitely too early. Definitely too early.
Yeah.
Bregman, I think he'll go down as a Hall of Very Good. I don't see him turning it up again.
Yeah.
I think he'll just be an average third baseman from here on out.
Yeah.
Alvarez definitely has the chance. He's just got to stay healthy and keep hitting bombs.
Pretty much.
Corey Seager, I think, is on the trajectory for it. He's gotten
MVP.
2 World Series. He's gotten the World Series MVP. Did he get the 2021 as well? I feel like he might have.
I don't know.
Remember. Either way, Corey Seager is certainly well on his way. Just needs to stay healthy. Once again, he's missed too much time due to injury. But he also hasn't been up that long. Like, I think we're going into close to year 10, maybe, which I guess is kind of long.
Yeah.
But still, Juan Soto, definitely too early, but he's well on his way. Corbin Burns is an interesting one just because he was kind of a late bloomer. And before he was a Cy Young caliber pitcher, he was not good. So
Yeah.
he's an interesting one because you really got to think about those early parts of your career when maybe it wasn't going your way. Like, we don't talk about the early parts of Barry Bonds' career, but he went 40-40.
Yeah.
Like, so you got to think about that. Zach Wheeler is an interesting case. Certainly has been good. His time with the Mets was bad. So that, once again, early part of your career maybe tainting it, which I think is common for pitchers. That just happens. It's hard to pitch when you're 20 years old. Hard to pitch in the MLB. Same goes for Blake Snell. I think the early part of his career and now, like, the up and downs that we've seen over the past couple of years is super questionable.
Yeah.
Rafael Devers is an interesting one. I think he skates by really underrated every year. But I have to see winning baseball out of him because the Red Sox have been so bad almost his entire career. Outside of that miraculous run a couple years ago in the playoffs, the Red Sox have not done anything.
Yeah, not at all.
Bobby Witt Jr. is ungodly early. Like, so early.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But I love it. I love that he put Bobby Witt here. It's hard to say that you could. It's hard to put Bobby Witt here and not put Gunnar Henderson.
Yeah,
both
honestly.
so early.
Yeah.
But, Gunnar is in year 2, so I'll pump the brakes on that. Bobby's at least in year 3. Acuna, I definitely would agree that it's too early. But him and Soto, I think, are in the same breath. It's just Acuna's early injuries have been the problem.
Yeah.
Emmanuel Clase, like I talked about earlier, I think he's certainly there. I think he'll be probably in 3 years. That early. Like,
yeah.
Obviously, like the first year, I think, of his career he spent in Texas, it wasn't amazing, but it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But what he has done with the Guardians has been unbelievable. Tatis and Vlad Guerrero, I put in the same conversation with this. They need to figure out how to be consistent.
For sure.
Both of them. Obviously, Tatis, the PED suspension definitely hurts. I don't know if that is going to be as big of a factor as it is for, like, Barry Bonds. Like, I feel like the guys that got away with it are worse off. Like, I don't think, like, Tatis did not get away with it. And if he did, he didn't get away with it for long. Like, A-Rod is an interesting one because you can assume he got away with it for a little while. And then he got popped.
Yeah.
Whereas Tatis hasn't even had the time to get away with it. And he's come back and he's been very good. Vlad, injuries and just inconsistent play is his biggest problem. And then Josh Hader, I think, is...
I'd put him in probably.
I would too. I
Yeah.
think he's definitely up there.
Yeah, for
And then
sure.
rounds it out, Christian Yelich. You got to see a revival from him. That's the thing.
Yeah.
If he can finish like top 8 in MVP voting 2 more times.
That seems hard
I know.
for him to crack.
I know. But that's what it takes to be in the Hall of Fame. I think
Yeah.
Yelich might just go down as like, man, what a hell of a stretch in his career.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
he's not. He's Hall of very good in my eyes. Okay, one last thing from this. Here's one stat every MLB team leads the league in.
Oh, here we go. This is
The
fun.
Diamondbacks, most runs scored. Very interesting.
That's good.
The Braves, highest hard hit percentage.
Interesting.
Yeah. Considering the home runs are down outside of our Ozuna, it's pretty impressive. The Baltimore Orioles, fewest double plays grounded into.
That always is helpful.
Yeah. The Boston Red Sox have the most extra base hits. The White Sox, best win percentage with temperatures under 60 degrees.
I think that's the Cubs.
Oh, sorry. Yes, that is the Cubs. My bad. That's a real stretch. It is not below 60 in many places yet.
Yeah.
It is August.
Definitely.
Almost September. The White Sox, best team ERA in the 6th inning. That's brutal. When we're pulling out innings and team ERAs in those innings, it's gotten to a bad spot. The Reds, fewest blown saves. That's not a bad one.
Yeah.
That's good talk for the relievers.
You're winning the games you should.
Yeah, Guardians, kind of in the same breath, best bullpen ERA. Obviously, that a big testament to Clase.
No way. This next one is incredible.
It is unbelievable. The Colorado Rockies, most double plays turned. That's crazy. Like, they're in a park known for home runs.
Yeah.
But I guess that middle infield is just killing it.
Yeah.
The Detroit Tigers, most triples. It kind of makes sense. Comerica Park wards triples. The Houston Astros, lowest expected batting average against. That's surprising for that pitching staff that kind of stumbled quickly in this season. Kansas City Royals, best batting average of runners in scoring position. Makes a lot of sense because Bobby Witt is just unbelievable. Los Angeles Angels, highest pulled balls in play allowed. What the fuck does that even mean? It just means their pitchers don't throw hard? Like, what? Los Angeles Dodgers, lowest ground ball rate, which is interesting.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily a good thing to lead in.
Fucking Marlins.
Most games under 2 hours long for the Marlins. That's a stretch. Oh, man.
It's another one where you know it's getting bad.
Yeah, that's how you know they're getting shut out. Under 2 hour games?
Yeah.
You got to be getting shut out. The Milwaukee Brewers, best OPS by bottom of the lineups. The 7 through 9 hitters. That's a odd one, but I like it.
I do like that.
The Twins, best OPS at home. That's pretty good. Mets, most home runs hit in extra innings. That's a bit of a reach.
Yeah.
Yankees, got a good one. Most home runs hit. That's a funny one. Solid. The Mets, they have to go to the extra innings for that.
Yeah.
The Athletics, most pitches thrown over 100 miles per hour. Thank you, Mason Miller.
Because Mason Miller exists.
Mason Miller should just take the Athletics spot on this list. The Philadelphia Phillies, most complete games pitched. Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, they just do their thing. Christopher Sanchez, I think, has one. Pittsburgh, best stolen base rate, stolen base success rate. That's surprising.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Padres, highest batting average. That's interesting.
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected that.
No. But Luis Arias is on that team.
That is true.
And Jurickson Profar has a fantastic batting average this year.
Yeah.
That could be two big factors. Seattle, lowest team ERA. We knew it wasn't going to be offensive.
Nope. Not for Seattle.
Yeah, the Giants, most strikeouts out of the bullpen. That's surprising with how bad Camilo Doval's been.
Yeah.
Uh, St. Louis, most saves. Ryan Helsley leading the league.
Close games too.
Yeah, definitely. Tampa Bay Rays, fewest wild pitches thrown. Interesting. Texas, best outfield arm strength. That's awesome. That's a great stat. But that's just because Adolis Garcia makes up for all of it.
Yeah.
And then you've got Toronto, best fielding run value, team defense, boring. And then the Nationals, most stolen bases, just because they got a bunch of young, fast players.
Yeah. Wow.
That was a fun little list. Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
Let's talk music real quick. We don't talk music often.
Uh-oh.
It's something
Are we
that
not
we
hitting
like.
our hour mark?
No, we are. We're actually well over. We're at 2:15. But I wanted to expand upon questions time. At least ask one question. What are you listening to right now?
Um, that's a great question. I've been listening to the song Essence a lot.
Fantastic
Yeah.
song.
I actually just recently, I say recently, probably like months and months ago, found out that there's a Justin Bieber version, and it's a hell of a lot. I didn't think that song could get better, but the Justin Bieber version is
Really?
really, really good.
Okay. I might have to
Yeah.
check that out. I don't think I've heard it.
Yeah, it's awesome. I've been listening obviously to Vultures too. Been enjoying that. And then I'm really excited
Back up from the
for
mic just a
ASAP
little
Rocky's new album. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm like leaned into it. Really excited for ASAP Rocky's new album. We're actually getting a single tomorrow because the album was supposed to come out tomorrow. People kept leaking it. So ASAP Rocky, because his last album was 6 years ago with Testing. He wants to make this one really, really good. That's a fantastic album. But yeah, I love ASAP Rocky. If y'all haven't already, check out the first single, Hijack, from this new album. It's gonna be awesome.
Are we getting a Rihanna feature? Got it.
Right? I was talking to Mr. Ronnie about that. So
gotta get a Rihanna feature.
You have to. You definitely have to.
I've been listening to a lot more country for sure. I don't know why. I don't know why. I keep kind of making this weird circle with my music taste because, like I said a couple months ago, the last time we talked about music on here, I've gotten back into music. Like I've delved more deep into music again because my drive to work is shorter, so I can't really listen to podcasts on the way to work because I'm only in the car for like 20 minutes. So,
okay,
all of my podcast listening is done at home or in the gym. So I only listen to music in the car now, which is great. I love it. Big ones I've been listening to. Obviously, Cody Johnson stays in the rotation. But I really like. I've always liked Coulter Wall. I don't know if you've heard any of him.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I've always liked Coulter Wall, but I never like fully went into his music. Like I'd listen to some of them, just kind of one-offs, and I always liked it. So started listening to more Coulter Wall. I really like the album he dropped. I think it was last year, maybe early this year.
Okay.
It's phenomenal. Really like 49 Winchester. They just dropped a new album. It's very good. Gavin Adcock, I'm giving a chance. He used to play football at Georgia Southern. He was actually there when I was there. And yeah, very weird. And my only issue with his music right now is the production level is very low.
Okay.
So like this album that he put out recently, he recorded with this company and then they sold the rights to a big label, but the production level is still really low on it.
Okay.
So I would like to hear what his music sounds like with like real high level production. Regardless, his music is awesome. There's also this guy, Will Slater, I believe is his name. Actually, I'm going to fact check this because I want to put everybody onto him.
Okay. Grayson is getting up now.
Sorry, my phone was on my desk.
While you're doing that, I am not a fan of Coulter Wall at all.
Really?
Not a big fan of his voice. I'm more if we're gonna go like kind of like low key country artists, I would go with Charlie Crockett.
Oh, okay. Well, that
I
was
love me some Charlie
yeah.
Crockett.
I have Charlie Crockett in the rotation as well. See, with Coulter
There you
Wall,
go.
his is a little more folk music that I like of
Yeah,
his. His voice is it's definitely very different from what you'd hear.
yeah.
So I can understand that. Yeah, Will Slater. I don't know much about him. I just know that like when I found his music through a TikTok that had five likes
Oh
that
wow.
he posted like um promoting a show in like Buckhead. But I don't know where he's
Damn.
from.
Yeah.
But I found his music and it's awesome. It like definitely reminds me a little bit of Zach Bryan a little bit. But not I don't know. It's kind of his voice is similar to Zach Bryan, but I love the instrument, like the instrumentation and everything, a lot more. But his song "Ignorance" is fantastic. So I've been listening to a lot of Will Slater. Of course, look, Zach Top is dominating the playlist right now. Zach Top is the best country music artist right now, hands down. Don't at me.
Wow.
You can't tell me that in 2024 you don't want to hear somebody that is so like heavily inspired by Alan Jackson and Keith Whitley and George Strait. Like it is literally what I want to hear. I spent years listening to that music again. Now I get a fresh version of it from an artist that is brand new to the game. Like Zach Top is amazing. Unbeatable right now in country music.
I'm gonna have to give this guy a shout.
Can't Beer for Breakfast drops tomorrow. Can't wait for that song to come out. But Cold Beer and country music has zero skips. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable album.
Love it.
Got a little bit of Nolene Hoffman in the rotation right now. Canadian country singer. She's like a ranch hand in Canada and a country singer. Fantastic. She did a.
Wow.
I found out about her because like a year or so ago, she dropped a snippet, and she had no music on Apple Music or anything. She dropped a snippet that I saw on TikTok, and it was really good. And then the song came out initially as a duet with Zach Bryan called "Purple Gas" on his most recent album. I love the duet. I love her version even more because she released her solo version of it. She also dropped a song called "Lightning in July." That one's in the playlist. Love that one. Muscadine Bloodline, another one I've been listening to. A little bit of Charlie XCX in the mix. Brass Summer. Can't skip on Charlie XCX. So that's in the lineup. A little bit of that new Claro album is in the lineup. Got, of course, Sabrina Carpenter. How could I not? The brand new album is phenomenal. It's phenomenal stuff. Look, I'm gonna go ahead and plant my flag in the ground real quick on Sabrina Carpenter. First of all, I'm not going to say I was early on the curve, whatever. Yeah, I watched Girl Meets World, but her music wise, I started listening when Emails I Can't Send came out. Love that album, whatever. Been anticipating this album for so long. Finally comes out. It's amazing. I would say I'm a top 100 straight cis white male fan of Sabrina Carpenter. That's what I'm saying. That's just I think I'm top 100 in that category for fans.
I respect it.
Other thing that's kind of a development. Days Before Rodeo got put on streaming services.
Oh,
So I had
I forgot about
to put a couple of
that.
those songs back in the rotation.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's where I'm at. I've fallen back in love with music. Not that I ever fell out of love with it. I just wasn't listening all that much. I'm back in.
Yeah.
I'm back in, and I'm
Dude,
excited.
the Days Before Rodeo album,
So
I
good.
had heard it before, but on Apple Music it's amazing. Trying to think, I think I like Zombies the most
Oh, okay.
on that one.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, I'm actually not a big fan of Mamacita.
I'm not the hugest not the biggest. My favorites are "Drugs You Should Try It," which is like notoriously his
Definitely.
best song ever. Maybe.
Yeah.
The Prayer is amazing. Fantastic intro track. He always has good intros. Um, Basement Freestyle is pretty good. Skyfall is amazing. Sloppy Toppy,
Basement Freestyle
so
is
much fun.
awesome.
Yeah, Sloppy Toppy is like the most fun song to listen to loud as fuck in your car.
What y'all know about Pee Wee Longway, though?
Facts. Yeah, Days Before Rodeo is awesome. Legendary album. I've been
God, that
listening
was
to it
nice.
since I certainly wasn't early on it. Like I think I was listening to it like 2017, 2018.
I definitely discovered it after Rodeo came out.
Yeah, I definitely discovered it after Rodeo. Probably around the time that like Butterfly Effect came out. Maybe before that.
That single was crazy.
Oh man, that was awesome.
uh,
Okay, I think that's
love
gonna
talking
do it.
music
Though.
on this podcast.
Yeah, we just filled about 10 minutes with music. So, we will call it there. Obviously, if you enjoyed any part of this episode, make sure you like the video on YouTube. Make sure you rate 5 stars and follow on the podcast platforms. If you're here on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed. Like I said, every time I look at those analytics, there's some people that are watching these episodes that aren't subscribed. So make sure you're subscribed. Turn on those post notifications so you know anytime we upload a video, because who knows? Maybe this Wednesday we're going to drop a video. Maybe. I'm just saying it could be something that you want to see. But of course, you could also follow us on all of our social media accounts to stay up to date with all that stuff. We'll always be promoting that stuff there. Follow us on all those social media accounts down at the bottom of the screen, all down there. Obviously, over on the far side of the screen, right below Luke, is the Second and Short subreddit. Submit your questions for questions time so that we don't have to spend 30 minutes on it again. All right. Anything else that I did not touch on? NFL is here. College football is here. Oh, I got 3 college football picks real quick. I've got, believe, Aiden Childs from Michigan State over 213.5 passing yards. Drew Aller over 210.5 passing yards, and Kevin Concepcion over 73.5 receiving yards. In case anybody wanted to ride.
Aiden Childs may or may not be nasty.
He's good, man. I like him.
He is good. I do like Aiden Childs.
I like him. Anything you got before we set off into this weekend?
No, I'll just reiterate one more time. Look, the analytics, the stats do not lie.
Nope.
You are on YouTube watching this unsubscribed. So go ahead and subscribe. I mean, our side content that we filmed this summer was some of the most fun I've ever had recording, like with the soccer video, Immaculate Grid with Colin, baseball video. We had so much fun with our little side episodes that you can't get anywhere but YouTube. So subscribe, make sure you're up to date, and everybody can have a great day.
Yeah. All right. NFL season in full swing as of now. College football ready to go. Soccer underway. You get it all right here. Guys, enjoy this weekend. A lot of stuff to watch. Everything's coming down. Luke, we'll see you next week. I will see you guys on Monday.
You guys.
We'll catch you guys later. Peace.